dozens of others rescued. Yesterday, 600 people crossed to the UK.
Questions for the British ambassador. It's been revealed that Lord Mandelson brokered a £1 billion deal with Jeffrey Epstein after the disgraced paedophile had been convicted.
And it's back British Farming Day, the annual NFU campaign to drive support for you to buy British produce.
And sport this morning, England put in an excellent performance to beat Serbia 5-0 in Belgrade last night. As predicted, I hate to say I told you so, but Ange Postecoglou is the new manager of Nottingham Forest. And for the first time in history, horse racing goes on strike.
There's rain around today, and unlike yesterday, most of us will see some. Could be pretty heavy too. Stick around for the details.
Well, we're halfway through the week. A very good morning to you. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
The tube strikes continue to cause chaos all over London, but just noticing coming in today that everywhere you went, the bike stands,
Oh, yes.
beautifully lined up. Everything, they're all sitting in position, all cleaned, all looking great.
They're prepared.
Fully charged, ready to go.
I have some friends of mine who have actually taken the electric bikes you can get in London, so the Lime bikes and such, and kept them in their flats overnight.
No.
They're worried
Really?
that they wouldn't get one in the morning, because that's the way that people are getting around. Apparently it's like the Tour de France out there. Everyone's just on their bikes heading
It's
into the
pelotons
office.
all over
so
the
they're
place.
keeping hold of the bikes.
They can detect where the bike is.
Yeah.
So they can be beep, 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 right to your house.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Well, they could know that you're concealing one.
Oh, well, I'm not concealing, but I do know people who are concealing. But I don't blame them.
No.
If that's the only way they can get into work.
I've tried it because often where we park, which is probably obviously time is of the essence when you get in at this time of the morning. So I'll take the Lime bike and then I'll cycle in, but I'm still on the pavement. You know, I know it's not good, but that time of the morning, and also with stabilisers, I've got some that's probably the only ones where you can get stabilisers on the side because and also I've got those traily things on the top and a bell.
What are they called? Lime, L-I-M-E.
There are different companies. So there's a Lime bike, there's Forest.
Is that the colour of it?
Yeah,
they
Forest.
have that, but that's the company that do them.
Yeah.
And so then you just scan it on your phone, on you go, away you go. First time I've ridden a bike in about 300 years.
But it's been so busy out there on the roads, not only with the cars, but also the bikes.
Yeah.
Because everyone's off the tubes. And it's the restaurants I feel sorry for in the centre of London, because I noticed yesterday, I follow a number of restaurants on Instagram, and they were saying, oh, if you want to head down for lunch or dinner, just walk in. Nobody's booked. And it's that, isn't it? It's the coffee shops and the restaurants that are really missing out, because there's just no footfall through central London. So, yeah, chaotic out there.
When was the last time you went on the tube, Eamonn? Was that the locomotive tube that they used to have going from Liverpool Street?
Have you ever been on the tube?
I was once in the mid-80s. I did.
So what stopped you, though?
I was working for Ulster Television, and there was a couple of us, and we went on to the tube. Yeah. What stopped me?
Yeah.
It's not for the likes of me.
Is that what it is?
You don't
You get chauffeured.
Yeah.
You two don't understand.
I don't understand.
But if you had a profile, if you were famous,
Right.
then you just can't get on with everybody else.
You'd just be hounded.
Look at you and whatever it is. So
Yeah.
I've got to be separate.
That's understandable. I understand that, yeah.
That's okay. As long
It's
as
for the likes of me and Ellie, not for the likes of you.
We're line biking through the streets of London.
4 minutes past 6 o'clock on this Wednesday morning. Breaking news overnight. What is it, Ellie?
Poland has shot down so-called Russian suicide drones that invaded its airspace overnight.
Now, this could be a major escalation, with NATO jets being scrambled to fend off what they've described as violations from the Russians. Residents have been urged to stay indoors. Polish armed forces identified and neutralised what was there.
Well, to tell us more, research fellow for the Henry Jackson Society, Andrew Fox, joins us. Morning to you, Andrew. What do we understand has happened in Poland overnight?
So the reports we've got at the moment are that a number of drone-like objects entered Polish airspace. from Russia as part of their huge attack on Ukraine. The Polish have had to close 4 of their national airports, and citizens in 3 regions in Poland have been told to take cover until this incident is completely resolved.
But Andrew, why would 4 objects enter Polish airspace? Would this be deliberate? Could this have been an accident?
It could have been an accident because obviously Russia has hugely increased the number of drones it's firing at Ukraine over recent weeks. The drone-like objects, we can assume they're probably something like the Shahed drones or the Garan 2, which is the Russian version of the Iranian drone that they purchased from Tehran. If it's deliberate, this would be very much in line with Russian tactics, because what they do is they probe and they test, never quite reaching the threshold where Article 5 of NATO can be called and some kind of military response is justified. So it's just enough to be deniable, but it's almost certainly a probe of NATO defences to assess our readiness and just to send a message that Russia is still a force to be reckoned with and concerned about.
But really, I don't understand. Why would they be probing Poland? What would the objective be?
So almost certainly to see how NATO reacts, what a Polish readiness states like in order to respond to an attack like this. How ready are the Polish Air Force to defend themselves? What does NATO do more widely? Are they going to show unity? Or will countries like Hungary and Turkey, who are NATO members, continue to have a sort of conflicting line? What will Washington do? How will Mr. Trump respond? There are a number of questions here that will reflect on where NATO is in terms of its willingness and preparedness to defend against attack.
Well, it's been described as a major escalation in Europe. What do you think the response will be, not only from Poland, but from wider NATO?
Well, this is the challenge, because what can you do? You're not going to declare war over a small number of drones. You're not going to have NATO retaliatory strikes against Russia at this point, because, of course, it's very difficult to prove the intent. Russia can simply claim it was a mistake, and NATO can offer a very stiff statement of condemnation. But I don't think it'll go any further than that at this time.
But where it will go further, I presume, is in Poland's state of readiness.
Absolutely, and the Polish armed forces have been very quick with their messaging. They've sent out very clear statements that they are prepared, that they've managed to shoot down these drones that have entered Polish airspace. And of course, Poland probably has the strongest military in Europe right now. So, if you're going to mess with anyone, the Polish are the last ones that you should mess with. So,
you think it was a deliberate mess, though? Your instinct is this is a deliberate messing.
Yeah, I would assess that this is very much in line with Russian tactics, the way they probe our airspace, the way they probe shipping in the North Sea, the way they hide arms caches over the borders in the Baltic regions. This is absolutely in line with how Russia operates. It's almost certainly a test for NATO.
Can we ask you about the situation in Qatar and the strike by Israel yesterday? What do you make of that attack and the US response to it as well?
Well, I think there's been some sort of diplomatic sleight of hand here. I'm almost certain that the United States would have known about this attack before Israel launched it. And I'd be very surprised if Qatar wasn't aware as well, because Qatar and the US have a defense agreement. So for the US to give permission for the Israelis to strike in Qatar without telling the Qataris, I think would be unusual. However, there's clearly Mr. Trump and Mr. Netanyahu are doing their performance on the international stage to try and give Washington some diplomatic top cover by pretending that there was nothing Washington could have done about it. But by the same token, it's very hard to condemn a violation of Polish airspace at the same time as celebrating a violation of Qatari airspace. So it is a violation of international norms. But by the same token, I can't pretend to be regretful that these truly terrible people at the head of Hamas have met a degree of justice for what they did on 7th of October.
And just briefly, do you think we'll see a response from Qatar to this?
No, again, I think it'll be part of this diplomatic performance that's going on, where they'll widely condemn Israel across the Arab world and across the Gulf region. They might even escalate it to the United Nations, but I don't think anything practical will come of this.
OK, Andrew, appreciate your analysis. Very much thank you for that. And we'll speak again. Thank you for the moment, though.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back in Britain, Channel migrants are in line for millions of pounds in compensation as asylum seekers have lodged legal claims for what they call inhumane conditions. Yes, get this one. Almost 200 illegal migrants have lodged complaints with allegations including sexual assault, physical abuse and thefts by guards.
Well, elsewhere, on multiple front pages this morning, it's been revealed that the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein brokered a deal with Lord Mandelson over the sale of a UK taxpayer-owned banking business after his conviction. Well, joining us now in the studio is political commentator Duncan Barks. Good to see you this morning, Duncan.
Morning.
Can we start with this Mandelson-Epstein saga, which has been going on since Monday? What do you make of this all? I mean, big questions about his judgment.
Yeah, I think there's a big question about judgment, and it's all about this birthday book that was put together for Epstein, which has been signed by a number of people, various messages, including Lord Mandelson, who, as we know, is the UK ambassador to the United States of America. He's been doing the role since February 2025. The pictures aren't great. The optics aren't good. There's a picture of Mandelson in a bathrobe on Epstein's private island in 2002. Other pictures as well. If you look at some of the quotes that he put in the so-called birthday book, a handwritten note, and these are notes and photos that stretch across 10 pages. You've got various notes such as, once upon a time, an intelligent, sharp-witted man they call mysterious parachuted into my life. You would spend many hours just waiting for him to turn up. This is about Epstein. It doesn't read well at all.
It's a gushing love letter. It reads like that, doesn't it?
You can interpret it that way. And this is another headache for Sir Keir Starmer this morning, because you don't want your ambassador to become the main news story, right? You want your ambassador to not be the story, to be the diplomat. And we have to also mention Lord Mandelson's past is pretty checkered. He's resigned from government 2 times previously. Obviously, he's not in a government position at the moment. He's an ambassador. However, he's in a position of influence, and already we're seeing the victims of Epstein come forward and say, this guy has to go. You can't have him being in this position.
Meanwhile, should we talk about this story here in the UK? Channel migrants in line for millions of pounds in compensation as asylum seekers lodge legal claims for what they call inhumane conditions.
So this centres around Mandelson, which is on the Isle of Thanet in Kent. It used to be a former RAF and international airport, an RAF base and international airport. It has been used over the last few years as, if you like, a holding place for people who cross the Channel illegally. Now, this goes back to 2022, and there are a number of claims that have been made. 194 asylum seekers in total have lodged legal claims for what they say is their unlawful detention and mistreatment on arrival at Mandelson Migrant Holding Centre. Now, this is being done under something called the ECHR, which is constantly in the headlines, as we know at the moment, the European Convention on Human Rights. We know it's in the headlines because political parties are jostling for position to say, well, we need to do something about this because it makes it harder for us to deal with the migrants crossing the Channel and what we can do with them when they get here. You know, Reform UK has said we would come out of the ECHR. We believe the Conservative Party will make an announcement regarding our involvement with the ECHR and their position at the Tory party conference at the beginning of October. And even certain Labour politicians have said we need to reform the ECHR somehow. So that's how these legal claims are being justified, because the challenges have been made under the ECHR. Now, the allegations include sexual assaults, physical abuse and thefts of property by guards, as well as the state of the place where people were being detained. There's a claim it was disease-ridden, dirty and cold conditions. The Home Office has always said that we're not going to settle against these claims, which is why now lawyers have got involved. The average compensation claim for up to 24 hours of unlawful detention is £500. But, of course, the bigger issue here is if the government loses this, it's going to open the floodgates for anyone else who was detained at Mandelson.
Well, of course. And it just goes to show as well, doesn't it? There's no silver bullet when it comes to accommodation for asylum seekers. I mean, we saw the same sort of issues at the Bibi Stockholm, didn't we? Same allegations were brought up then, and now about RAF bases. And all the while, the government's trying to close down migrant hotels.
Well, this is the other thing which is interesting about this. I mean, Mandelson back in the headlines for all of the wrong reasons, yet Labour has said recently, look, we're going to move these migrants out of the hotels and possibly put them into Mandelson. So this starts a chain of events, doesn't it? Because if these legal claims stand up to scrutiny and compensation is given, you're then going to see more lawyers going, you can't use Mandelson unless you can prove significantly that the conditions have changed for the better.
OK, Duncan, really appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed. We should say, in response to the accusations against Lord Mandelson, he's declined to comment about this, but previously an official spokesperson for him has said...
Lord Mandelson has long been clear that he very much regrets ever having been introduced to Jeffrey Epstein.
Prime Minister's official spokesman said he had no plans to speak to Lord Mandelson about the letter, but declined to say whether Sir Keir Starmer knew about the extent of Mandelson's friendship with Epstein or whether he knew about the photo album. And a reminder that coming up tonight at 7 o'clock is the Farage Immigration 2-hour special. Tell us more, Ellie.
Well, GB News will be covering some astonishing exclusive stories, speaking to stellar guests and providing world-class analysis. Immigration isn't just an issue, it is the issue of our time. So don't forget to send in your views to farage@gbnews.com and tune in tonight at 7 p.m. for the Farage Immigration 2-hour special, only on GB News.
OK, bring you up to date now with the weather situation. Alex Burkle on this Wednesday morning.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, I'm here with your GB News weather update, coming to you from the Met Office. Now today is going to be an unsettled day. Most of us will see some rain at times, could be quite heavy as well, and there will be some blustery winds adding to a relatively cool feel. Plenty of showery rain around this morning, and it's fairly widespread as we go through the day, so most places likely to see some bursts of it, but across western areas it's perhaps going to be a bit more frequent. Some heavier showery rain affecting western parts of Scotland, maybe into parts of Northern Ireland as we go into the afternoon as well. Temperatures are going to be around or a touch below average for the time of year, and in the rain under the cloud with some blustery winds, where it's going to feel relatively cool for most of us as well. More wet weather to come as we go through the end of the day, actually across some parts of Scotland, particularly towards the west and the south. A spell of more persistent heavy rain pushing through, so we could see some high rainfall totals building up here. Elsewhere across Northern Ireland, some fairly frequent showers still to come through this evening, and across the rest of the UK really the showery theme continues, and these showers could be quite heavy. We're talking 10 to 20 millimetres in an hour or so, maybe 30 millimetres in just a few hours, and so a little bit of flash flooding not out of the question, even a bit of thunder and some hail. The more persistent showery rain pushes away towards the northeast as we go overnight, but then more showers will be piling in from the west, and so western areas staying quite showery, a bit drier with some clear skies across central and eastern parts, and as a result, with more clear skies than we saw last night, temperatures dropping a fair bit lower, particularly away from towns and cities, likely to drop into single digits. Then through tomorrow, staying cloudy and wet across some western parts of Scotland in particular, some blustery strong winds here, risk of gales for some. Elsewhere, it's a day of sunshine and showers. Further east, you have a greater chance of avoiding the showers, but even here, I am expecting a few to push through at times. There will be some sunny spells on offer in between the showers, but temperatures, if anything, a little bit lower than today. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, we'll be crossing to California this morning. The big launch going on there. We're going to go live. Our tech editor is out there, and he's going to tell us about the new Apple phones and various variations of that after this.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Now it's time for the Great British Giveaway now. It's actually our biggest prize package to date, worth over an incredible £104,000.
And your chance to drive away with a brand new 4-berth motorhome, Va Vroom. Put it all together, this is what you get.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck with that if you want to have a go. Now, we're going to report now on a new wave of products launched by Apple. They've been revealed at a launch event. This is in California, and it really centres around the iPhone 17.
Yes, the newest products will go up against the likes of the Samsung Galaxy S25 and the Google Pixel 9 for a place in your pocket. OK, so what does it all look like? Did it live up to the hype? We're now joined by our news tech editor, Aaron Brown. OK, Aaron, what did you see? What did you get? How impressed were you?
Pretty impressed, Eamonn, yeah. It's probably worth saying at the start that this September event, which is traditionally when Apple reveals its new iPhone, is a big deal. Like, half of the company's revenue still comes from the iPhone alone. So wow. It's keen not to upset the apple cart, but it really shook things up this year. So there were 4 new iPhone models, 3 new Apple Watches, and a new pair of its AirPods Pro earbuds. I'll probably start with the iPhone Air, which is what you're seeing on screen at the moment. That was the one that really caused a buzz here in California. As the name suggests, it's a super slim new design. It's the thinnest iPhone that Apple has ever built. It's 5.6 millimeters in thickness. That's about a third slimmer than any iPhone that our viewers might have in their pocket at the moment. We've done the maths. It's about between 7 or 8 credit cards stacked next to one another. That's the sort of thickness we're talking about. Apple isn't the first to release one of these ultra svelte phones. That honor goes to Samsung, which released a slim version of its Galaxy S25 earlier this year called the S25 Edge. But the iPhone Air is thinner. Battery life, bit of an unknown with these kind of ultra thin devices. Apple says you can get around 27 hours of video playback, which is actually 5 hours more than iPhone 16, which was launched last year, but it remains to be seen if that's true in the real world. The rest of the iPhone lineup, the 17 and the 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max, are packed with a load of new features, faster processors. They've all got a massive upgrade to the selfie camera. Apple said on stage that 500 billion selfies are taken on iPhone in 1 year. So we think this is something that people are really going to notice. And the other interesting story that came out of the event today was health. It's something that Apple's been talking about for some time now. I know Ellie had a chat with their Vice President of Health on GB News earlier this year, and she announced several new initiatives for their devices. 2 of the Apple Watch models can now detect chronic high blood pressure. And Apple says that it expects the smartwatches to be able to diagnose 1 million people with hypertension in the first year on market alone. Hypertension, often called the silent killer, as it can lead to heart attacks. So this has the potential to be a really big deal. Finally, AirPods Pro 3, they've got a heart rate tracker inside the wireless earbuds now, so you can track up to 50 different workouts just from wearing your earbuds. They'll track calories, heart rate during exercise without the need to wear a Fitbit or an Apple Watch or any other kind of tracker. Again, Apple isn't the first to put heart rate tracking into wireless earbuds. It's something that other companies have experimented with, predominantly because heart rate tracking can be more accurate in the ear because it won't be put off by things like sweat or tattoos on the skin. Everything announced today is going on sale in the UK and worldwide on September 19th.
So, Aaron, lots to get through there. Sounds like an amazing event, but as you say, it kind of centred around the iPhone 17. How does that compare to other smartphones that are on the market right now? Is it still kind of the front runner?
I mean, Apple has a habit of not being the first to new technologies, but it says it likes to take its time and launch things when they're ready, and it feels like it can add something new to the industry. And that's what we've seen today with the iPhone Air. Like I said, Samsung was first to market with one of these ultra thin devices, but you know, the iPhone still has the power to sort of shift the market, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with this new edition. If people are interested.
What was the little watch thing you were showing, Aaron? We saw a watch popping up on screen there. What was that?
Yeah, they've got 3 new watches. The watch Series 11 is probably the most interesting one. That's the one that will detect chronic high blood pressure with a reading on your wrist. It's also got stronger glass and is focused on sleep score, so it can help you improve your sleep, which is another area that Apple says is well worth focusing on to improve your overall health.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Thank you so much, Aaron, for bringing that to us live from California. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Well, there we are, looking ahead, a brief glimpse into the future, what is in store. Now it's time for our daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hi, my name is Andrew Latimer. I'm a Church of England minister at Grace Church in Greenwich. I wonder whether you could give the first names of all of your grandparents. For me, it would be Doris and Kenneth, Frank and Elsie. Easy. Okay, here's a slightly harder question. Can you give the first names of all your great-grandparents? Personally, I can do 1 or 2, but I can't do all of them. So these are people we're directly related to, and already within just over 100 years, we don't even know their names, let alone what their hopes and dreams were, or what it was that made them tick. The Bible says in Psalm 103 that the life of mortals is like grass. They flourish like a flower of the field. So it's saying that human beings do flourish. There are real achievements for us to celebrate. And then the verse goes on. They flourish like a flower of the field. The wind blows over it, and it's gone. And its place remembers it no more. Now, on its own, this could be pretty negative. I'm only here for a short time, then I'll be forgotten. But then the verse continues like this. But from everlasting to everlasting, the Lord's love is with those who fear him. Wonderfully, the Bible shows us that the key to permanence, the key to having everlasting significance, is to connect ourselves to the everlasting God. We are like grass. We are here today, we're gone tomorrow, but His love is eternal. And therefore, if we can connect ourselves to Him, we too can be eternal.
And remember that you're here today, gone tomorrow. Well, wherever you're going today, whether it's to work or school or the shops or maybe nowhere if you're in London, here's the travel update.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Today, the M8 is shut to all westbound traffic between Junction 17 and Junction 19 due to overnight roadworks. Motorists should follow signed diversions and prepare for longer journey times. On the M6 northbound, there's an accident between the M1 and Junction 1, causing significant disruptions with one lane out of 3 currently closed. Travellers should stay alert and seek alternative routes if required. And on the trains, Northern buses replace trains between Corkickle and Whitehaven, adding extra travel time. Ensure you've budgeted more time for journeys today. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Now do stay with us. Still to come, for the first time in history, which sport is going on strike? We'll tell you about that with Paul next.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Right, history made today. Lingfield, Carlisle, Uttoxeter, Kempton Park. No horse racing there today, and this is for the first time ever. A strike's been called, Paul.
It has. This is the first time it's ever happened. I mean, it's the first time there's no racing. The only other time there's no racing is Christmas Day. But this is a very important thing to the racing industry. It's all about tax on the racing industry.
So they're going to try and bring racing industry in line with online taxes.
The way it is at the moment, and this is online, it doesn't count when you go to betting shops or when you go actually to the actual horse race.
Why is it so complicated?
Oh, I tell you, basically 21% is taxed when people go online and they do online casinos.
Okay.
It's 15% if you bet on horse racing online. Yes. So horse racing, they want to pull it up to 21%. That's what the government want to do. But it's going to cost horse racing industry, they say, £200,000 a day. And they say it's very much different from online casinos because it's the second most watched sport in the country, and that horse racing is an industry which is separate to the rest of the casino and gaming industry.
Well, let's find out more. Susie Reaper has been out and about down at the tracks finding out.
There they go. A great British institution. Horse racing has been enjoyed around the world for thousands of years.
Now they're in the straight and it's the last yard that counts.
Through the ages, the sport has grown rapidly in popularity, bolstered by support from various monarchs, all the way from Charles I through to George V and our modern-day royal family. Now it's the second most popular spectator sport in the UK, with over 6 million people attending our racecourses every single year.
Crowd estimated at 300,000 to see the Grand National.
That is, of course, capped off by the biggest horse race in the world, the Grand National. Iconic and spectacular, Aintree draws the eyes of over 600 million people from all over the globe every April for this historic race.
Quite simply, racing is part of what makes us British. No other sport can match the sort of cultural, societal, economic, sporting significance to Britain.
Horse racing also generates around £4 billion for the British economy each year, as well as providing almost 100,000 jobs. However, in response to the government's proposed tax increases on racing, today, for the first time in modern history, British horse racing will be on strike.
It brings that message home loud and clear to the Chancellor, to Number 10, that right across this country, there are communities that are utterly dependent upon horse racing. And if they go ahead with that tax increase, what will happen is those communities will be massively damaged.
The proposals from the Treasury could mean a hike in racing taxes from 15% to the 21% currently paid by the likes of online casinos and games. A spokesperson from the department has said, "We are consulting on bringing the treatment of online betting in line with other forms of online gambling to cut down bureaucracy. It is not about increasing or decreasing rates, and we welcome views from all stakeholders, including businesses, trade bodies, the third sector and individuals." Horse racing remains a significant part of our British heritage. But for today at least, this historic sport will leave our racetracks empty. Sophie Reaper, GB News.
We go again. The only answer politicians have to anything is tax. Tax is more. I think there's a lot of people going to suffer from this. You know, there's the hospitality industry. There's transport industry. There's so many areas with this. Yeah, people go out and they have a good time. The thing is, though, Paul, is it likely to achieve anything? Cancelling all these meets today. is anybody going to notice?
I think people will notice, because this ain't half of the horse racing industry. There's going to be jockeys. There's going to be so many different people in different careers around horse racing that are going to be at Westminster lobbying today over this. We're talking about they're averaging around 2,000 jobs could go if this happens, and whereas we talk about this £200,000 a day which would be lost to the racing industry, that obviously the government are thinking, well, that's £200,000 a day that's going to go into our coffers. So that's the reason they want to.
They've lost jobs in the hospitality industry with previous taxes that Rachel Reeves has introduced. I mean, obviously it's going to happen again.
Yeah, it looks like it will happen again, but it's not written in stone. I don't know whether this is actually going to stay this way and it's just going to be a pointless exercise. I think maybe some sort of compromise could be made on this, because I don't think the government would have realised how important this is to people and what a big noise this would make. So although we say, you know, is it going to make any difference for these races not to go ahead? This is a historic event. This has never happened before, and I think it's people like us talking about it that therefore is going to make them listen.
And it's a huge part of our heritage, isn't it? British and Irish heritage, yeah.
Like I said earlier, it's the second biggest spectator sport behind football in the country.
Well, talking of football, should we look at last night very briefly? England beat Serbia.
Yeah, you know, I'll do it briefly. We'll speak more in an hour, but Serbia 0, England 5. This was supposed to be the toughest test for England. England were really good, and I haven't said that very often over the years.
But also, it seems to be the Serbian supporters were pretty good as well.
Yeah,
they were expecting trouble there.
I expected two things yesterday. One was Ange Postecoglou moving into Nottingham Forest, which happened. The other one was the fact that there would be trouble in Belgrade. I'm pleased to say I was wrong on one of them.
Well, what are Forest going to get with Postecoglou? I mean, you've seen him at Spurs. You've seen how he operates. Is he really God's gift?
No, I don't think anybody is. But with Postecoglou, I worry for Nottingham Forest, because the way that they've had their success is on a way of playing. It's through Nuno.
But he boasts about getting trophies when he plays. He wins a trophy within 2 years.
Within his second season,
And they want a trophy.
They want a trophy, but I don't know whether it's going to. I just don't know whether it's going to work. I hope it is going to work for them. But as far as Postecoglou's concerned, I think there's this Greek love in between him and Marinakis. He loves the idea that there's a Greek manager, which Postecoglou effectively is, although I grew up in Australia. Whether it's going to work, I really don't know.
Well, I love you, Mr. Paul. We're going to see you again in 40 minutes' time. We've got lots of other things to talk, including Ryder Cup T-shirts.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Thanks, Coity.
Pleasure.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, will Lord Mandelson be stripped of his UK ambassadorship? We're going to be discussing that and much more, going through the papers with Penny Smith and Duncan Barks. But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, and many places around southern Europe will have a lot of fine weather, but not everywhere. The heavy thundery rain that's been plaguing parts of Italy recently, that's pushing its way north and eastwards into parts of Greece, and there's still the risk of some thunder as it makes its way through. Elsewhere, lots of dry weather, yes, but across some parts of northern Portugal and northwest Spain, it is going to be pretty wet, even some strong winds. Otherwise, a largely fine picture as we go through into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
Bev, I'm so sad that you're leaving Britain, but so excited that you're going to go and conquer the United States of America.
Congratulations on this fantastic posting, and I hope you have a fantastic time on your big political adventure in Washington, D.C.
And I just know this is your time, this is your place, America is your place. You are going to shine.
Yeah, Bev, you are going to absolutely smash it. America, be ready for Bev Turner.
I'm actually not even going to say good luck. You don't need it.
You're going to bring Washington down like a storm, bringing us the inside track of everything.
It's the reconquest of America. You are going where Columbus went before, and remember that the English are best.
We're really, really excited about GB News America, and you are the perfect person to be fronting it. We can't wait to watch you, although it's going to be so hard not seeing you in the studio.
Yeah, we're going to miss you hugely, Bev. We know you are absolutely going to smash it. You're going to have them on the run.
Good luck to you. You won't need it because you're a legend. We saw that at Turnberry, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in just a few weeks. Love you. Wow.
Well, it's been a ball, Bev. Nobody could say it's been dull, eventful, unpredictable, erratic. We've not always seen eye to eye, but it has been a great experience for me, and my loss is America's gain. So the very best of luck to you.
Oh, that was quite emotional. I got quite tearful then.
Well, the people are very fond of you, but great outpouring of love and affection and admiration for what you're going to do.
And I'm going to, honestly, I mean, I'm not leaving GB News. Let's just be clear. I am going to be hosting a show Monday to Thursday. You're going to be seeing me all over every show. Hopefully, I'll be popping up here and there. I'll do some exclusive bits for Andrew here. I'll send
Thought you'd say.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
We're talking about this Russian drone strike last night over Poland. Penny, Norman Baker with their views with how the papers are reporting this today. Penny, what's your view?
Well, I think it's scary, actually. I think it's deliberate. This is the 4 suicide drones that they call them. In other words, you know, they just go in and just come down where they come down, and they don't care about them. But they're in NATO airspace, and they are absolutely in NATO airspace. So when you look at the actual picture of where they are definitely 100% in Polish airspace.
And it looks deliberate to you?
It looks deliberate.
Norman, what does it look like to you?
It is deliberate. It's quite clear. I mean, what Russia is doing is testing NATO as to whether NATO is going to respond or not. One attack on a NATO country is an attack on all NATO members, according to the Article 5 of the NATO Treaty. So is NATO going to do anything about this, or isn't it? You've got to remember as well that Poland's been the country that's been most supportive of Ukraine in Eastern Europe, and therefore it's no accident they've chosen Poland to go into. I think Putin's got this mad idea of recreating the Soviet Union as it was, and all the Eastern European countries become kind of satellites, as Belarus is, to Russia. And that's where he wants to go. I mean, the man is out of control.
Yeah. What are the options on the table now for NATO? I mean, you're not going to start war with Russia, are you, over a number of drones? Not over a number of drones, but there'll need to be a response.
Why doesn't somebody just send a missile over Moscow?
Well, I mean, the thing is, do you activate NATO if Russia goes 1 mile into NATO country, or 2 miles, or 5 miles? At what point do you say we're going to respond to this? And that's what Putin is trying. He's trying to see how far he can go and get away with it.
Yeah. See that emergency tone we got on our phones on Sunday? That
alert. Yeah.
Do you think that's related? Do you think that's related to all this, to warn us that there's a strike on the way?
They've done it before, though, haven't they? They did it a few years ago, before all this, before the invasion of Ukraine. So I think they are testing it. But yes, I mean, there will be conspiracy theorists who say that it was possibly to do with that. Of course, there's also Finland, which has got a huge long border, and the Russian. I think it's was he the foreign minister who was sort of saying, you know, stop massing on the border, you know, so that we've got. I think I agree with you.
And then we've got what went on in Qatar yesterday as well, Norman, and America's reaction to this. Now, did America know about this, or didn't they know about this? What's going on here?
Well, he said that according to Telegraph, which is a paper I'm looking at now. First of all, it's been condemned by the White House press secretary. Now, whether it's condemned by Trump in the same terms is not necessarily clear because he's not always in line with his staff. But that Caroline Levitt said that he feels very badly and made his thoughts and concerns about this very clear during conversation with Netanyahu, which it appears to be after the event. And it also says in the paper that the US was not informed by Israel in advance and found out from its own US military sources.
Do you think that's correct? Do you think Israel could have operated this strike without permission from the US?
Yes, I think they do, because basically Trump has given Israel carte blanche to do what it wants in the Middle East, and he's running riot, Netanyahu. And I think just as NATO is being tested by Putin, I think Israel is testing the US. Are you going to actually control us? Because you've now got the most far-right Israeli government in history, with all sorts of human rights abuses. We've got Netanyahu determined to keep the war going, because if he doesn't keep the war going, he'll be up in court for offences which are postponed for the time being. And we've got a US president who's been compliant and done nothing about it. Now, with it, 4 US presidents would have exercised constraint on Israel. Trump is not doing that.
Donald Trump was saying yesterday he feels really badly about this strike, but they feel bad. I mean, you saw with Caroline Levitt last night talking about Qatar being a friend and an ally. They've been the main mediator, the key mediator in these peace talks.
And I know that Israel has said, you know, nobody from Hamas is safe, but you just think, hold on a second, they were in another country.
Sovereign country.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So
having peace talks, apparently, with the country.
Having peace talks, yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about the British ambassador to Washington, Peter Mandelson. You know, who's led a colourful political life. It's
well, he has,
proud to be said.
Yeah.
The Mirror today, front page: Jeffrey Epstein's victims demanded Mandelson be stripped of his ambassadorship. Why?
Well, because this is there are so many photographs of him and his closeness to the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein has been revealed in this book, and there are so many photographs, and there's this really, really unpleasant message in a birthday card, which says something about Epstein, known for taking you by surprise in one of his glorious homes he likes to share with his friends, in brackets, yum yum, alongside a single malt whiskey label and a picture of a tropical island, and he calls him his best pal. He remains my best pal no matter where he is. Now, the thing is, Lord Mandelson knew these photos were around. He knew this was him when he took the post as ambassador to America. So,
more to the point, Starmer knew that the photos were around.
But why wasn't the discussion? Look, this is going to come out at some stage. It will, because they always do. These things always do emerge, you know.
Well, Mandelson would say that he wasn't aware of any criminality, that these photos were taken in 2002. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't convicted of anything until 2008.
Yeah,
he has said he's been asked in recent years about his friendship with Epstein, and he says he deeply regrets it.
I think he deeply regrets it's come out. That's
well, he's declined to comment on the reports at the moment.
The guy was sacked twice as a minister. He was sacked once by me, actually, in a sense, because it was my parliamentary written question on the Hinduji passports that got him the post. He was also sacked over a loan from Jeffrey Robinson. So he's got a very, very checkered past, and he's not reliable in that sense. And this was all known before he was appointed.
Yeah.
And people knew he was a friend of Epstein. It's been in the papers for years he's been associated with Epstein, but he was still appointed. My view is totally inappropriate. He's in office and should be removed from his position.
OK, got to leave it there, Norman. Thank you very much indeed, Penny, as well. We'll see you guys in about 40 minutes' time. Right now, we're going to give you a weather update. We say hello, good morning, welcome, Alex Burkle.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. I'm here with your GB News weather update, coming to you from the Met Office. Now, today is going to be an unsettled day. Most of us will see some rain at times. Could be quite heavy as well, and there will be some blustery winds adding to a relatively cool feel. Plenty of showery rain around this morning, and it's fairly widespread as we go through the day. So most places likely to see some bursts of it, but across western areas it's perhaps going to be a bit more frequent. Some heavier showery rain affecting western parts of Scotland, maybe into parts of Northern Ireland. extend as we go into the afternoon as well. Temperatures are going to be around or a touch below average for the time of year, and in the rain under the cloud with some blustery winds where it's going to feel relatively cool for most of us as well. More wet weather to come as we go through the end of the day, actually across some parts of Scotland, particularly towards the west and the south. A spell of more persistent heavy rain pushing through, so we could see some high rainfall totals building up here. Elsewhere across Northern Ireland, some fairly frequent showers still to come through this evening, and across the rest of the UK really the showery theme continues, and these showers could be quite heavy. We're talking 10 to 20 millimetres in an hour or so, maybe 30 millimetres in just a few hours, and so a little bit of flash flooding not out of the question, even a bit of thunder and some hail. The more persistent showery rain pushes away towards the northeast as we go overnight, but then more showers will be piling in from the west, and so western areas staying quite showery, a bit drier with some clear skies across central and eastern parts, and as a result, with more clear skies than we saw last night, temperatures dropping a fair bit lower, particularly away from towns and cities, likely to drop into single digits. Then through tomorrow, staying cloudy and wet across some western parts of Scotland in particular, some blustery strong winds here, risk of gales for some. Elsewhere, it's a day of sunshine and showers. Further east, you have a greater chance of avoiding the showers, but even here, I am expecting a few to push through at times. There will be some sunny spells on offer in between the showers, but temperatures, if anything, a little bit lower than today. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M8 westbound is closed between Junction 17 and Junction 19 due to planned maintenance. Motorists should follow the posted diversions. In Oxfordshire, an incident involving an overturned vehicle on the M40 southbound between Junction 11 and Junction 10 has resulted in the closure of 2 out of 3 lanes. Delays are around 30 minutes, and the situation is expected to improve by 8:43 this morning. And on the trains, Northern buses are replacing services between Corkickle and Whitehaven. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good morning. NATO fighter jets scrambled to intercept Russian drones in the early hours of this morning in what's being described as an unprecedented violation in Poland.
Now, this is pretty serious stuff, and it marks the first time Poland has directly engaged Russia in airspace since the Ukraine war started.
Well, it's being called a major escalation, but what will the response be?
President Trump condemns the Israeli airstrikes in Qatar. They failed to wipe out Hamas's senior leadership.
Tragedy in the Channel. A woman dies during a surge in small boats with dozens of other people rescued. Yesterday, 600 migrants successfully crossed to the UK.
Big questions this morning for the British ambassador to the US. It's been revealed Lord Mandelson brokered a £1 billion deal with Jeffrey Epstein after the disgraced paedophile had been convicted.
It's Back British Farming Day. It's the annual NFU campaign to drive support for buying British.
And in sport, very impressive England thrashed Serbia 5-0 in Belgrade last night, which leaves them top of their World Cup group without conceding a goal. For the first time in history, horse racing goes on strike over tax rises. And is Rory McIlroy the face of America's Ryder Cup team?
There's rain around today, and unlike yesterday, most of us will see some. Could be pretty heavy too. Stick around for the details.
A very good morning. Good to see you. Whoever you're watching, whoever you're listening, you're very welcome. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
What do you mean, is Rory McIlroy the face of the American Ryder Cup team?
Well, it's a T-shirt. I'll show you a bit later. But they've made a mistake for advertising the Ryder Cup.
Is this a bit like the Great Northern Run mistake?
Oh, no.
It's not a million miles away from the Great North Run mistake.
Okay.
So Polo Ralph Lauren have the official outfitters for the American Ryder Cup team. So they've released all these T-shirts and all this stuff, and then this T-shirt of a man swinging a golf club. And if you look very closely, it's Rory McIlroy, plays for Europe.
You think it's Rory?
It looks like Rory, yeah. I'd recognise that swing anyway.
Wow.
Oh, that's a bit of a mess up, isn't it?
It is.
There's a story on the front page of the Telegraph today about how most drivers would fail their theory test. Did you have to do a theory test?
No.
No, I mean...
No, but I think I would fail it.
But it's about knowing the highway code. And apparently, because the highway code is changing all the time...
No, I don't think I would know the highway code.
People wouldn't know what the rules are.
But when we did a test... What year did you do your driving test?
78.
Right, so I was 84. Sat there, and then they get the... What's that? What's that? What's that sign? What's that sign? That was it.
That was it.
That was it, wasn't it? The rest of it was just driving.
I think we had multiple choice, I think. And then there was also this hazard perception, which was actually so fun. And they put you in a simulator, and then you have to whack the button when you think the danger's coming up. So I just whack it all the time. And that's how I passed.
Well, I told you about my fail when I did the speed awareness. And they showed the... Right, you've got to say what the problem was.
I found that quite fun as well.
Well, that was when they said to me, and she said, by the way, you think the answer's D, because you have to hold it up at the camera. She said, did you know, Paul, that you are the only person in 30 years of me doing this that has ever said D? And I'm thinking, oh, great, thanks very much. She goes, completely wrong.
Oh.
Completely wrong.
The only person.
The only person.
That was your interpretation.
So I think the chances of me passing a driving test now...
Okay.
I know lots of people.
I think we should do it at least every 2 years.
No, don't make these kind of suggestions.
No, but I think for safety, for everybody's safety, as you get older, you should be constantly revised, brought up to date with these things. Why not?
I think it's okay, actually. I think it's...
You don't think you're a good driver, though, do you?
Wait a minute. You get your vehicle MOT'd. Why do you not get yourself MOT'd?
I fear I wouldn't pass. That's what it is.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I don't think it's a good idea either.
Yeah.
Because you are a rubbish driver, though, aren't you?
I am a really rubbish driver. I told you about me being in tears last week, didn't I?
No.
No?
I went round a very big roundabout and it got very overwhelming. And I didn't know what lane to be in.
So you just kept going round and round?
Yeah, and I just said people were beeping me and cutting me
How
off.
long were you going round the roundabout?
3 days.
It felt like 3 days.
Oh, there she is. Who's the girl in tears? No, signal out. No, she's back in again.
Honestly, I ended up in tears.
Bless you.
I got very overwhelmed. So, no, very bad driver. I'm not like you. I need a chauffeur. That's what I need.
But you say, you've mentioned a few times, you easily well up, you easily cry.
I do.
Well,
Thank you, Eamonn, for sharing.
You're tough in work. I've never seen
I'm all right at work. I'm all right. It's my personal life.
Yeah.
Adverts, dogs, anything just makes me cry. Yeah. And roundabouts, it would seem.
Roundabouts.
Dogs.
Adverts,
roundabouts.
Yes, those three things.
Right, OK, let's talk about the situation in Poland last night. NATO jets scrambled and they were ordered to shoot down Russian drones that invaded Polish airspace.
Yes, it marks what could be a major escalation in the region, and people have been urged to stay indoors in Poland as the armed forces there identified and neutralised the objects.
Well, to tell us more on this, research fellow for the Henry Jackson Society, Andrew Fox, on this. Andrew, how serious would you rank this?
Well, what scale are we looking at? I mean, is it on the scale of the attacks that poor old Ukraine received last night, where they got hammered again by drones? Clearly not. But it is an escalation, and I think that's the important thing that we have to frame this as. It's definitely a different step from Russia to test NATO's defences in this way. But the event is now over. The Polish have declared the operation ended.
So what are they testing? What are they finding out, actually?
So they'll be looking at NATO's readiness, at Poland's readiness, how we respond to the incursion when the drones fly across the border. What do the Polish armed forces do, and what do NATO do in response? And then what is the diplomatic fallout going to be? What action is going to be taken at the diplomatic level to hold Russia in any way accountable for doing this?
And what action is going to be taken, do you think?
I think we're still in the realm of stiff statements, but the Polish did, by all accounts, perform exceptionally well last night. They were supported by NATO F-35s from the Netherlands, so we've proven a bit of NATO cohesion in responding to this. That's a good thing. But this isn't enough, I don't think, to escalate on any military level, so it will be stiff words of condemnation. And what we're all going to be really watching is the White House and how they respond, given how Mr. Trump has performed over the last couple of months in regards to Russia.
If this is a test by Russia, can we expect this to happen again and to go further next time?
Potentially. I mean, we are seeing tests of NATO all the time. We've seen Russian planes entering British airspace and being escorted out by the Royal Air Force on a pretty regular basis. Likewise, our shipping gets shadowed by their shadow fleet, and all this, all this manoeuvre and this game of kind of below the threshold of war testing of each other goes on all the time. So this, however, is slightly above the level of usual. I'd be surprised if it happens again, but we can never rule it out.
Well, we're certainly aware of Russia testing Europe and testing the UK and whatever. I don't know what other testing goes on. Do we test them?
We certainly kind of have our aircraft on the borders of their airspace. We do. This is a game that's gone back to the Cold War and beyond. It's just been revitalised for the 21st century. It doesn't necessarily mean that missiles are going to start flying, but we certainly look at each other's defences, see how they respond, and then we adjust our plans accordingly.
Yeah, but what does it say about Russia's intentions?
Well, I think it's very clear that Russia's intention has been for a very long time to re-establish its sphere of dominance in Eastern Europe and what it calls the near abroad. It would much prefer to have Russia-facing governments in places like Poland or Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, than it would have them NATO-facing. So we can expect them to continue to try and destabilise the native Russian-speaking populations in those countries, just as they did in Georgia, just as they did in Ukraine.
Can we ask you about the strikes that took place in Qatar yesterday? What do you make of what we all saw there and the US response to it?
So yesterday we saw a significant escalation by the Israelis who took the fight to Hamas's leadership in Doha, where they've been sheltering under diplomatic protection from the Qataris. Now, Israel has vowed to wipe out Hamas as an organisation, and I'm partly surprised it took as long as it did. And I think the reason that Israel chose now to strike these leaders is because negotiations were going nowhere. Israel still wants to try and get its hostages back. It still wants to remove Hamas from Gaza. And this is an escalation that is a response, I think, to the failure of negotiations and the failure to recover the hostages or find a workable ceasefire.
Well, this won't be good news for people in Gaza, and it won't be good news for the hostages either. Where does it leave the peace talks? Because Qatar have been a key mediator in all of this.
I mean, they have, but Qatar have also paid both sides. They've been funding Hamas for a very long time and giving them political top cover and huge amounts of money. So Qatar's neutrality, I think, is perhaps not quite what they claim it is. However, I agree with you completely that this leaves the hostages in a very worrying place. Negotiations are clearly not going to go forward from this point. And if Israel's been successful in killing Hamas's leaders, then who indeed do you negotiate with if their leaders are all dead?
Yeah.
So that's my single biggest concern over this, is that this might have been a seriously negative move in terms of the hostages coming home.
And what to believe, and you know, who's saying what, and so many different things are being said. Israel, for instance, are saying that they informed, and America are agreeing with this, that they informed the Pentagon before they informed the White House. All of this, so it was like a military objective before it was a diplomatic objective at all. What do you read into that?
I think there's a degree of diplomatic theatre going on here. The idea that Israel would launch strikes on a US ally with whom it has a mutual defence agreement without telling Washington in advance, I think is a stretch, shall we say. I'd be very, very surprised if the United States didn't know about this, and possibly even the Qataris. The night before the strike, Qatar's main negotiator was pleading with Hamas to take the deal. I suspect they knew what was coming when Hamas said no. Hamas was saying they wouldn't accept a Japan-like surrender, referring to the end of the Second World War. So they were pretty clear on their messaging, and I think that's why the escalation then happened.
And you're a good man to talk to. Very, very interesting. Enjoyed your analysis today, and I hope we speak to you again soon. For the moment, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Now, at 11 minutes past 7, the Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, has emerged as the front-runner among 6 Labour MPs vying to be the party's next deputy leader.
Well, they're hoping to fill Angela Rayner's shoes, and they'll need the backing of 80 MPs by tomorrow evening. And later on today, the Prime Minister will face MPs for the first time since his major reshuffle last week.
Well, let's speak now to Duncan Barks, who joins us in the studio, political commentator. Good to see you, Duncan.
Hello.
So we're hearing the calls are for a northern woman, left-leaning, ally of Sir Keir Starmer. That would be Bridget Phillipson, wouldn't it be?
I think that's a fair assessment. So the runners and riders are quite interesting here. Let's put it into context. What Keir Starmer needs really is a pal, right? He needs a chum. Angela Rayner worked in many ways as, and they were very different politically, because of course Rayner represented the more left side of the Labour Party, but also she acted as like a safety valve against those on the left who might be against some of the stuff that Starmer was doing or not doing. For example, when there was a welfare rebellions or concerns over Gaza or whatever, Angela Rayner was there to kind of calm the troops a little bit. So he needs to find someone who can do that. As we mentioned, the favourite at the moment is Bridget Phillipson. She's currently the Education Secretary. She's from the North East, so she represents Houghton and Sunderland South, I think, the constituency. So she would be a good choice for him. And what's really interesting about this, I suspect a lot of Labour MPs have been having WhatsApp messages sent to them by various other people who want to become deputy leader. How is your summer? How's it going? Any chance you might back me for what's going on here? So the runners and riders include, and they do tend to be, women from the north of England. Alison McGovern, who represents Birkenhead as a constituency.
Incidentally, why are there no men?
I think it's down to the optics. I just think it's that simple. It'll be a case of, it's a job for the boys, is it? So that's why I think there's been a push.
I tell you, it's no fun being a man these days.
It's not, is it, Eamonn?
No. You and me would have no chance there.
No, we'd be just bag carriers, I think. So we've got Alison McGovern, who's the MP for Birkenhead. She's in the running. We have Belle Ribeiro Addy, who is a London Labour MP, considered by many to be on the hard left. We also have Lucy Powell, who up until recently was leader of the House of Commons. Now, she was effectively sacked in the
last
reshuffle.
week?
Yeah.
Which would be incredible, wouldn't it?
One, it would be incredible. And two, if you're Keir Starmer, do you really want someone who you booted out of a job last week being your deputy leader.
Bit awkward.
Stella Creasy, who's quite independently minded as an MP. Emily Thornberry, who is also actually almost neighbouring Sir Keir Starmer in terms of constituencies in North London. And of course, she's got an axe to grind because when Labour came into power, he didn't give her a job in the cabinet. So I suspect you wouldn't want her as your deputy leader. And there's also a little-known MP, I think it's fair to say, Paula Barker, who represents Liverpool Wavertree, who's chucked her hat into the ring.
She's also a welfare rebel, isn't she?
She is. So rebels, if you're Keir Starmer, you don't want a rebel. You want a deputy leader who is going to be a relatively safe pair of hands, supportive to you, but able to command the respect of the left of the party and indeed all other Labour MPs, just so you can keep them in check. What's going to be interesting is the deadline for nominations for candidates, or rather backers, is 5 p.m. tomorrow, and they need to secure 80 MPs. At the moment, we have Bridget Phillipson, who this morning has secured so far the backing of 44 MPs, so still quite a way to go, and Lucy Powell with 35 MPs backing her so far. So today's going to be a really interesting day. We will see a lot of people out on social media, Labour MPs going, I'm backing this person, I'm backing that person. And what will be interesting is whether or not there's any Labour high-profile MPs or indeed cabinet members who break cover and say, this is the person I'm backing.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see. I'm also hearing that there's an online hustings that's taking place tonight for 1 hour. So it's going to be all of the candidates together, and that will be for any Labour MP to ask any of the candidates any question. I mean, so that could be absolute chaos.
It could be chaos. And I mean, we've got to remember this is something that Keir Starmer does not need. You know, he did not need Angela Rayner resigning. Some people are saying this is a bit of a sideshow, but actually, it's bigger than the sideshow because it really matters who gets the gig. Otherwise, long term, he's going to have another thorn in his side.
Yeah, certainly is. Duncan, thank you very much for your time this morning. Thank you.
Right, let's give you the weather picture as to how it's happening today, how it's going to be shading up, and it's going to get a bit rough, maybe. Alex.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. I'm here with your GB News weather update, coming to you from the Met Office. Now, today is going to be an unsettled day. Most of us will see some rain at times. Could be quite heavy as well, and there will be some blustery winds adding to a relatively cool feel. Plenty of showery rain around this morning, and it's fairly widespread as we go through the day. So most places likely to see some bursts of it, but across western areas, it's perhaps going to be a bit more frequent. Some heavier showery rain affecting western parts of Scotland, maybe into parts of Northern Ireland as we go into the afternoon as well. Temperatures are going to be around or a touch below average for the time of year, and in the rain under the cloud with some blustery winds where it's going to feel relatively cool for most of us as well. More wet weather to come as we go through the end of the day, actually across some parts of Scotland, particularly towards the west and the south. A spell of more persistent heavy rain pushing through, so we could see some high rainfall totals building up here. Elsewhere across Northern Ireland, some fairly frequent showers still to come through this evening, and across the rest of the UK really the showery theme continues, and these showers could be quite heavy. We're talking 10 to 20 millimetres in an hour or so, maybe 30 millimetres in just a few hours, and so a little bit of flash flooding not out of the question, even a bit of thunder and some hail. The more persistent showery rain pushes away towards the northeast as we go overnight, but then more showers will be piling in from the west, and so western areas staying quite showery, a bit drier with some clear skies across central and eastern parts, and as a result, with more clear skies than we saw last night, temperatures dropping a fair bit lower, particularly away from towns and cities, likely to drop into single digits. Then through tomorrow, staying cloudy and wet across some western parts of Scotland in particular, some blustery strong winds here, risk of gales for some. Elsewhere, it's a day of sunshine and showers. Further east, you have a greater chance of avoiding the showers, but even here, I am expecting a few to push through at times. There will be some sunny spells on offer in between the showers, but temperatures, if anything, a little bit lower than today. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, what about this? The Great British Giveaway. It is very, very good. It is very, very big. And it is our biggest package to date. And it's worth over
£104,000. Yes, your chance to drive away in a brand new 4-berth motorhome, plus a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash. Here are all of the details that you need.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Big day today. Well, so many things happening today, so many things in the news. And, I mean, there's that horse racing strike going on at 6 racecourses around the country today, all due to tax on betting. But it's also what today?
Back British Farming Day. It's NFU's annual day where it encourages people to buy British. But in tough times for farmers, what are they doing to cope? We're going to be going live to a farm with Dougie Beattie next.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Well, today's a big day. It's Back British Farming Day, and the National Farmers Union is campaigning for people to buy British produce. Now, I know the idea is this helps farming sector. It's terrible that we have to be told to buy British, but if you are told, would it make a difference? Would you actually reconsider and say, I'll buy those apples or those tomatoes or that cabbage because they are definitely British, and that's going to do our farmers a lot of good, because that is the idea.
Well, hopefully it makes people think when they're in the supermarket, and you can actually see the stickers, can't you? The labels saying British produce. But this campaign also aims to bring together farmers, growers and the rest of the food sector to drive positive change for British agriculture.
A man who's always full of positive change, our GB News Northern Irish reporter, Mr. Douglas Beattie, this morning. So, Dougie, where are you today? Tell us more.
Well, I'm in one of my favourite places. I'm in a milking parlour. Many of my youthful days I spent in a milking parlour, and I'm on Sam Hanna's farm this morning. Sam joins me now. Sam, why Back British Farming?
Why not? It's here, it's on your doorstep. It's a natural product which we're producing. You know where it comes from. It's the best product there is out there.
Now, farming has had a hard time, and why I've came back here in particular is, of course, you and I last year did a piece about the potential of inheritance tax, and it came. You know, what investment have you made since then?
Well, since then, or just slightly before then, we invested in this new milking parlour, invested in a bit of land, and we're pushing on and trying to make the farm more economic and more viable for the future.
And have you invested anything this year, or looking into the next 2 years, with inheritance tax hanging over you?
No. Why would you? Only to make something more valuable, to get the noose tighter around your neck.
Well, people are saying now that milk prices are up and beef prices are up. Is that true?
Well, slightly stronger than what they were last year. But the production isn't there. We aren't producing the same as what we had done due to derogation, NAP proposals, and even pushing forward with the NAP proposals that are on the table. We can't afford to push on anymore. We're getting the same money, probably back with less stock.
And basically, so you've had to cut down numbers, so your income has stayed the same because you're not putting any more out. You can't expand.
No, and the whole Loch Ness problem that we have here, it's a contradiction of itself. Farming can use the phosphate up before it gets leached out or whatever into the waterways. The derogation, we don't need to keep as much. We aren't allowed to keep as much stock. We aren't allowed to sow as much nitrogen fertiliser, which means we can't grow as much, so we can't use the phosphate up the way we should be able to.
Well, there you go, and that's very simply put. Eamonn, you know, really all this net zero stuff, they need to be looking at how they can recycle phosphates and let the farmers use it again on the lands. That would put rocket boosters on our farming. And of course, agri-food is the biggest export in Northern Ireland. It creates the most jobs, and quite simply, the price of beef, the price of milk, the price of yogurts and the price of cheese is going up because they're keeping the herd sizes down, and therefore there is less product.
Well, listen, talking about herd sizes, I know in your own herd you have a cow called Isabel and you have a cow called Eamonn. How are Isabel and Eamonn doing these days? How are their udders?
Well, Isabel has unfortunately, she's taking unpaid leave in McDonald's probably about now, Eamonn. That's just the sad part of Isabel. So yeah, that's where those animals are at, and unfortunately that is our food chain. That's how it goes. The animals are brought in, they're reared, they're made into food, and they're passed on. So I mean, unfortunately, you know, that might be sad for some, but we all have to live in one way or another, and that's what farming's all about. I mean, I'm standing here, and Sam has his daughter here, his father's here. It's a family farm. They understand the cycle of life, and what makes money and what doesn't, and that's why you buy British products.
So Isabel has sausages now, but what about Eamonn? What's happened to Eamonn?
Well, he's about somewhere.
Eamonn's alive and kicking.
He'll not be fit to go anywhere, probably until about another 20 months or so, and then he will disappear. And you could catch up with him probably in a McDonald's store near you. Other outlets are available, by the way.
Well, nice to know. Nice to know you care so much. But thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Dougie, for that.
Back British Farming Day, and thank you, Dougie, for drawing our attention to it. But there we go. So
you've got about 20 months
before he's a hamburger.
before he's a hamburger.
But he has magnificent udders.
And poor Isabel the cow is already a hamburger.
Yeah. Oh dear. That's the way it is. Anyway, coming up, Rory McIlroy, right? He has become the face of Team USA at this year's Ryder Cup. How did that happen? How did that happen? Good mix-up, and Paul Coyte will tell you all about it right after this.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M40 southbound between junctions 11 and 10 in Oxfordshire has an overturned vehicle, closing 2 lanes and causing significant delays. Traffic is expected to clear between 7:45 and 8. In Surrey, the M23 southbound between junctions 8 and 9 is fully closed due to a police incident. Normal conditions are expected between 8:45 and 9. And on the trains, Great Western Railway reports disruption at Guildford, and Northern buses replace trains between Corkicle and Whitehaven. Please adjust your plans accordingly. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We're just talking about the demise of poor Isabel the cow.
We're very upset about this.
We are upset about it, and Paul and I were saying we just couldn't be farmers, could we?
No, I'd be too upset.
No.
I should be a vegetarian. I feel bad about it, but I eat meat and enjoy meat, but I'd be in tears.
If you think too much about it, it's very upsetting.
And Eamonn's going in 20 months to McDonald's.
At least he's got 20 months left to enjoy.
Goodness me.
Unlike poor Isabel.
It's even worse because then you could bond for another 20 months before.
But the good thing is we've got some food to taste later on.
We do. We're going to try something. It's a new sport, which I'm going to have you participate
This is called food cutting, and it's an actual sport.
It is, yeah.
Right, okay.
It is, yeah. We'll do it in a second.
Right, we'll do that. Right.
Rory, let's mention Rory. I did mention the T-shirt, didn't I?
Okay. So Ryder Cup going to be a couple of months, is it?
No, it's at the end of the month. We're only a couple of weeks away.
Right, yeah.
A couple of weeks away. Bethpage, Black New York, and
in the USA.
It's going to be tough. Europe against the USA and going over there. But the thing is, they've started bringing out the merchandise. Let's have a look at the T-shirt. This is the T-shirt that the USA now have of Rory Well, I say of Rory McIlroy. There's the picture. They say it's not. So there we are. Ryder Cup. It looks like him. But let's have a look at possibly the picture that they might have got that from.
Yeah.
Look at that. And there's Rory.
Oh.
Yeah, but that would be a standard swing
Uncanny.
for any golfer, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
The side profile's pretty uncanny there.
It is
what we need is for who's making it? Who's making it?
Yeah,
Ralph Lauren.
Well, Ralph Lauren need to show us the picture and say who that is based on.
And if I was Rory, I'd be then saying image rights. How much are you going to pay me for this? If that's a picture of me.
I think that's a very good idea.
That's what
if
he wants
Rory's
to do.
listening this
But he
morning.
couldn't take any money for that because he just wants to win. He won the Irish Open, of course, at the weekend.
He did, without
and he's in good form. He's really pumped up for this.
I love the Ryder Cup. And even people that don't like golf, there's something very special about the Ryder Cup. So I'm very excited about that.
Good.
Now, England beat Serbia last night 5-0.
No trouble off the pitch.
No trouble off the pitch, and a lot of trouble for Serbia on the pitch because England, and it's not very often we get to say this, England were brilliant. 5 different goal scorers. It was basically the performance that everybody's been waiting for, and there were so many changes because there was no Bellingham, there was no Saka, there was no Foden, so a lot of new players coming through, but they were great, and they played as a team, they went forward. Everything that we wanted to see in England, we saw in Serbia last night. So I don't know whether it's the fact that they're a bit more of a challenging team to play than your Andorras of the world when there's just no challenge. So the way they are at the moment is England the top of their group, haven't even conceded a goal, and yeah, it's great. But
looking good for next year.
But if we get to the World Cup, who else is going to challenge us until we get there? It's just like playing smaller teams. But anyway,
it's going to be the Republic of Ireland. They're in bad shape, aren't they?
Oh, they're in really bad shape. They lost in Armenia. I mean, Armenia are 105th in the world. Do you remember the days of Jack Charlton? That seems a long way away now. And Wales lost to Canada, although it's a friendly. They lost in Swansea. The first time played in Swansea for years. They lost to Canada 1-0. It was Jesse Marsh, you remember the Leeds manager, who's now the manager of Canada, and he was giving it the big one afterwards and all this, and Craig Bellamy didn't like that very much. So anyway, there we are.
Well, talking about the big one.
Right, be careful with this.
Okay. Now, explain to us what we've got here.
Well, have a look at this. There's a little something from a German TV show, and I'm sorry about the state of that, but I had to make sure that the weight was correct. Have a look at this, and this is how the show, and this is enthralling. This is what we're going to try.
So this is a giant pretzel.
Yes, we do. Do we have the? Hopefully, we have the video.
Footage that's going to show us what to do.
Yes, of how to do it.
Yes.
Or maybe not. Okay. Well, if.
Right. Gosh, and it's the same thing. This is a pretzel, is it?
Yes, that's why I've got your pretzel. So they cut it in half, and then the sport is to try and cut it completely down the middle, so both sides...
And that was a perfect cut.
That was the perfect cut. Now, I can tell you, they are both 90 grams each, and if we...
And Ellie and I have got to do the same thing.
Yes, so you go first, Eamonn. Very best of luck for
it.
So there we are. By the way, it's very tough, and please be very careful.
Watch your
Don't
fingers.
try this at home, unless you're a trained professional. Right, there you go.
It's a bit steel.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, just give it...
Yeah, it's rock hard.
That's it. There you go. Yeah, this could take some time. Yeah.
Need a chainsaw to get through this pretzel.
I'll be honest with you, they were fresh on Monday, but we didn't have time to do it. So there we are. I'm happy to weigh this now. Ellie, if you'd like to cut yours. So if this is 45 grams, you've done it. It's not bad, 46. So 46 for that, and 44 for that. Very good, very good. So you're only 1 gram out. So, Ellie, is this the first time you've ever tried this sport, by the way?
Oh, I've messed mine up, yes.
By the way, I do have peppers, I have cucumbers, and,
have you got anything,
and even a jelly.
Have you got anything fun, like chocolate?
There we go. 46 and 45.
Now, that's very good.
Both very good. Both very good. But
I think I win.
One out. Yeah,
Oh.
you both just one out.
Okay.
Either side.
Yeah.
That was fun.
There
I
we
can
are.
see where I went wrong.
Yeah, I can see where I went wrong. I wish I had my time again.
Well, listen, you never know your luck. Maybe in an hour's time, you could have your time again in something else. Do you think
We're
it's
quite
a
good at
sport,
that.
By the way, you think
yeah,
it's a
I
good
think
sport?
that's really
No.
fun.
You think it's not going to take off for you?
Do you know what I know definitely, looking at this, right? Looking at this, I don't like pretzels.
Why?
I just don't like them. I don't like the look of them. I don't like the taste of them. I don't like, when you get them on an airplane and whatever, you think, well...
Oh, yeah, they're quite nice
little
on an aeroplane.
pretzels?
Yeah, the
Oh.
little packets they give you. I like a pretzel. I like them when they're covered in cinnamon.
I like a pretzel too. So.
Very good. That's a fun game. I'd play that again.
It's a fun game, says Miss Ellie.
We can play that and birthdays, maybe together.
Okay, but this is just a little bit...
Thank you, Mr. Paul. You never know what's going to pop up in sport. Okay.
You never know.
Thank you, my friend.
Pleasure.
Still to come, UNICEF has announced shocking figures about child obesity, right? Eating too many pretzels,
That's
I would
it.
have thought. We'll be revealing that right after the break and discussing some other stories coming into us with Penny Smith and Norman Baker.
But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, and many places around southern Europe will have a lot of fine weather, but not everywhere. The heavy thundery rain that's been plaguing parts of Italy recently, that's pushing its way north and eastwards into parts of Greece, and there's still the risk of some thunder as it makes its way through. Elsewhere, lots of dry weather, yes, but across some parts of northern Portugal and northwest Spain, it is going to be pretty wet, even some strong winds. Otherwise, a largely fine picture as we go through into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
It's a big 3,500-mile journey, but it's an international TV show, so there's going to be a good 10 to 12 film crew. But instead of hunting, gathering and survival, it's going to be mixed. We're going to be travelling this by land, air and sea, documenting the Yellow River. So it is going to be skydiving, paragliding, scuba diving, all the extremes that you can think of.
You've done paragliding, you've done skydiving before?
Yeah, I've got the licences. I've probably been working on it the past 10 to 15 years, to be honest.
Really?
The licences in sort of land, air and sea. And so this time round, we get to put it all in one as we show, you know, the mother river of China.
And how long would it take?
It would take probably about 2 months. So certainly longer than the Suriname journey, but not quite the Yangtze River.
And
which
sleeping in what, tents?
Yeah, tents along the way. Yeah, we'll be cycling and kayaking as well. We'll be staying in a lot of different towns and cities along the way because there's a big film crew. So it's probably more luxurious than your survival in the Amazon, but certainly different kind of challenges.
And am I right in thinking you've got engaged since your last trip?
Yes.
And how does your beautiful Mrs-to-be feel about you doing this?
You know what? She's worried all the time with these different endeavours, but she's just so supportive. She loves it. She's like, you know, as long as you train and prepare and you're safe and you're not pressured with the film crew around you to do stuff that you wouldn't otherwise do, then you know, she has
can you? Are you allowed to keep in touch, or is it?
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah. So I'm looking to actually drop, like on Instagram and the rest of the social medias, a post every day. From source to sea, from day one all the way to the very end.
I was following you on Instagram and I was thinking, how is he able to do this from the middle of nowhere? Sometimes you can't get Wi-Fi in North Devon.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. We're going through the papers in the company of broadcaster Penny Smith and former Cabinet Minister Norman Baker. Morning, you two. Norman, let's start with the Labour deputy leadership race, shall we? And Bridget Phillipson has emerged as the front runner.
She has, the Education Secretary, and the interesting thing about this is that this is out of Starmer's control. He can sack the Cabinet and appoint the Cabinet, but he can't actually appoint the Deputy Leader. It's a matter for the Labour Party, Parliamentary Labour Party, to decide that. So there's an opportunity for those who are unhappy with Starmer's leadership, and there are many in the Labour Party in Parliament who are, to choose someone, as they would see it, to bring him more into line with Labour values. That's kind of the mantra that they've got. So what Starmer can do, of course, is ignore the Deputy Leader. In the Sun, of course, is saying, sources say that Number 10 didn't urge any candidates to stand, keeping out of it, but they want to minimise the role's importance. So we can have a deputy leader who's not a member of the shadow cabinet, and therefore has pretty limited power. They are all women. It's an interesting development. 6 women standing.
Well, apparently there were calls for it to be a woman and Northern and left-leaning.
Well, in that case, they've got candidates who fit the bill. Emily Thornberry's there. She, of course, isn't an MP. She was the only member of the shadow cabinet not appointed to the cabinet when Labour came in. So she's got an axe to grind. So she may actually get more votes. But what he's done, or the Labour Party hierarchy's done this time, is require 80 votes for nominations to try and stop a kind of Corbyn-type figure coming in.
Right. I wanted to talk about the tube. I know as soon as we talk about tube chaos, and everybody says it's just a London story. Well, actually, of course, although it's a London story, so many people come in through London if they're tourists or whatever else, and it affects millions of people, and it affects so many things as well. Because if you can't get anywhere, and it is very gridlocked, I actually sort of. And the thing is, people say, "Oh, take
I always
bus,"
have an interest as to why the dispute is happening. What is the grievance?
Right, so what they're saying is they want a 32-hour 4-day week.
Very nice too.
Very nice too.
And I think we can all...
What would you expect to work during a week, a working hour week? 36?
Well, 40 is the standard, isn't it? 40
yeah. I mean, my brother does a 4-day week, but he does 12 hours a day.
So he's doing more than 40 hours.
So he does more than, well, certainly more than 32. So I was looking into why they are demanding this, and they say, the people who work on the tubes, so you do all sorts of different shifts. You've got 7 shifts. You start at 4:30 in the morning, move to middle shifts where you're working for later, then you do really late shifts, and then you work overnight as well. Constant cycle, bank holidays, weekends considered as normal working days. All of these things, I would say, lots of other people do. It's exhausting, and you get brain fog of fatigue. You never really recover. The only way to recover is to have more time off.
Look, I mean, if there's an issue about rostering, they should discuss rostering.
Exactly.
Perfectly fair to discuss that with TfL. Look, I mean, the reason they're on strike is because, first of all, they've got, excuse me, quite a lot of leverage. They can bring the capital to a halt. But secondly, the history of this is Sadiq Khan gives in and finds more money. And that's what they're arguing for. They think, oh, if we carry on this strike, Sadiq Khan will come up with some money for us. They've offered 3.5%, I think, which is not unreasonable given the inflation rate at the moment, which has been turned down. But 32-hour week, it's just off this planet.
And we haven't heard anything from Sadiq Khan this time around, have we? I mean, he's been very quiet.
He's been asked to be the RMT have asked him to intervene because they think he'll come up with some more money, but he hasn't done so yet.
Do you think the public's on the side of the RMT?
No, I don't think they are on this occasion. I think there's been occasions in the past where they've been on the side of the unions, but not on this occasion. This looks like greed, to be perfectly frank with you.
Yeah.
Penny?
No, I think that's absolutely right. I think this time when people hear the 32-hour working week for 4 days, I think a lot of people are saying, you know, I mean, I've got loads and loads of mates, relatives who are essentially doing 3 or 4 jobs and barely see anybody at any time, and they would love to have a job, a steady job, where they could, you know, even if it was shift work.
And do 52 days holiday, I was reading yesterday. So
yes, I mean, the whole thing goes through London Underground. The Victoria Line was designed to be driverless in '67 when the Victoria Line was planned and opened. But the unions at the time insisted that drivers be there. All they do is open the doors and shut the doors. They don't drive the train. And they get 52 weeks, or whatever it is.
52 days, yeah.
52 days holiday. They open and shut doors, that's all they do.
Norman, let's have a look at this story in the eye, shall we? Boris Johnson accused of misusing funds to help former Prime Ministers.
Yes, this is started yesterday, but there's a follow-up in the eye today. And this is a suggestion that every former Prime Minister is given an allowance of £115,000 max a year to carry out public duties because they're still public figures. And what's emerged is that other former Prime Ministers either haven't taken the money, like Rishi Sunak, or they've taken the money and used it properly for public duties, as Tony Blair and Gordon Brown and Liz Truss appear to have done. But Boris Johnson's the only one who appears to have used it, the allowance, to exploit contacts and to make personal financial gain.
Although they're saying it has gone through, it would have gone through checks beforehand.
Well, there's a subsequent check as well to find out as an audit process.
Yeah.
But I mean, Kerry Badenoch, who's not having a great time, it seems to me, says that people should be able to earn money when they leave politics. Of course, you should be able to earn money, but not primed with public money to do so.
Can I move on to the Elgin marbles? I've got time because I like this story. It's about most Britons are happy to lose the Elgin marbles. They're nothing to do with, well, I mean, they are to do with Lord Elgin, but they're not marbles like you roll around. These are the collection of, in my humble opinion, very dull statues. They're 200 years after they were brought to Britain from the ruins of the Parthenon in Athens, and 2,500 years after they were crafted. And lots of people are saying, oh, just give them back.
Well, I totally agree with that. Look, they're not particularly distinguished.
Exactly.
I mean, why bother having them? And, Greece is clearly very keen to have them, so we could get some diplomatic gain from Greece by giving them back. I mean, people even know what they are. I mean, they don't come from Elgin and they're not marbles, so...
Yeah. I was about to say, I don't think if you were to straw
not marbles.
Oh, no, all right.
Oh, they are made of marble. They are made of marble. I love that. Eamonn suddenly going, what? Hold on a second, what are they made of? Plastic?
Yeah. I don't think the average person on the street would even know what they are.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. No one cares.
Let us know what you think. You may not agree with Penny and Norman, gbnews.com/you'll say. Let's have a look.
Hugging.
Hugging, yes.
Talk about. Are you a hugger, Norman?
Yes, I was hugging my daughter extensively after having left her in the Philippines the day before yesterday.
Not deposited her, sorry, that sounds like you sort of went over and just sort of left her and left lucky.
It lasted far more than 7 seconds because we love each other dearly and we were both very tearful about it. But hugging is a very natural thing, it's a very tactile thing. But the story in the Mail is that if it lasts 7.02 seconds, very precise, isn't it? If it lasts 7.02 seconds, then that suggests that who you are hugging, you could have hidden feelings for one another.
That's a very long cuddle.
It's a very long cuddle. And the average cuddle, if you're hugging your friend, saying cheerio to your friend, is 2.88 seconds. I don't know how they measure all these things. But the longer you hug someone, the more chance there is that there's a secret wish to be more romantically involved. So the paper said. Also, this journal says, the Journal of Non-Verbal Behaviour, which seems to be a limited journal in terms of what it can actually say.
Oh, think of all the things you can say just with an eyebrow. I wish I could lift one eyebrow, because you know those people who just kind of lift
like
one
Roger Moore?
Yeah, it's just really good, isn't it? Because if you could do two and it's fine, but I mean one is just particularly quizzical. Can you do one, Lorna?
No.
But I know women who don't want to be hugged at all, don't want to be touched.
Do they say?
They do quite surprisingly. Two prominent television presenters who... No. Yes, you know both of them.
Do I?
And
just write it down
They're
here.
allergic to being hugged.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Do they say why?
No.
Just don't like it?
I didn't really say why. I just find it a bit of a surprise, you know?
Quite cold, isn't it, if you don't like a
Oh, I'm all
I
for a
find it
cuddle.
cold.
I'm all for a cuddle, unless it's somebody I dislike intensely, in which case I don't actually want them anyway.
Yeah. That's fair enough, though.
That's it,
But how
okay.
nice.
So do you like being hugged or not? And is 7 seconds a bit too much?
Yeah, let us know. Penny, more fat children than ones who are starving. This is the first time ever.
For the first time ever, there are now more fat children in the world than ones who are starving, although this is very keen. This is UNICEF, the children's charity UNICEF. That is not to say that these children are not malnourished, of course, because they've got lots to eat, but they're not eating well, because if you eat the sort of food that they are eating, then you are damaging things like your brain as well.
That there is any child starving to death, you know, hasn't got enough to eat, and yet there would be so many more here, as it's saying, that have actually too much, and albeit that rubbish, it's still too much.
Exactly, and it's just and it's affecting their growth, their brain development, and their mental health later on. So, yeah, and it's just one of those strange things that. Yeah. It's a world first, and it's a world gone mad. I mean, there's quite a lot of people, like, for example, this I never know how they're called, Professor Chris Van.
On that thought, as I get ready to give you the names of the two women television presenters we're talking about, you can go and have a look at the weather. These guys will be back in 40 minutes' time. Alex Burkle, good morning to you. Here's the forecast.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, I'm here with your GB News weather update, coming to you from the Met Office. Now, today is going to be an unsettled day. Most of us will see some rain at times, could be quite heavy as well, and there will be some blustery winds adding to a relatively cool feel. Plenty of showery rain around this morning, and it's fairly widespread as we go through the day, so most places likely to see some bursts of it, but across western areas it's perhaps going to be a bit more frequent. Some heavier showery rain affecting western parts of Scotland, maybe into parts of Northern Ireland as we go into the afternoon as well. Temperatures are going to be around or a touch below average for the time of year, and in the rain under the cloud with some blustery winds, where it's going to feel relatively cool for most of us as well. More wet weather to come as we go through the end of the day, actually across some parts of Scotland, particularly towards the west and the south. A spell of more persistent heavy rain pushing through, so we could see some high rainfall totals building up here. Elsewhere across Northern Ireland, some fairly frequent showers still to come through this evening, and across the rest of the UK, really, the showery theme continues, and these showers could be quite heavy. We're talking 10 to 20 millimetres in an hour or so, maybe 30 millimetres in just a few hours, and so a little bit of flash flooding not out of the question, even a bit of thunder and some hail. The more persistent showery rain pushes away towards the northeast as we go overnight, but then more showers will be piling in from the west, and so western areas staying quite showery, a bit dry with some clear skies across central and eastern parts, and as a result, with more clear skies than we saw last night, temperatures dropping a fair bit lower, particularly away from towns and cities, likely to drop into single digits. Then through tomorrow, staying cloudy and wet across some western parts of Scotland in particular, some blustery strong winds here, risk of gales for some. Elsewhere, it's a day of sunshine and showers. Further east, you have a greater chance of avoiding the showers, but even here, I am expecting a few to push through at times. There will be some sunny spells on offer in between the showers, but temperatures, if anything, a little bit lower than today. Bye-bye.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Currently, on the M32 southbound, a broken down vehicle at Junction 3 has caused one lane closure. In Oxfordshire, a serious incident on the M40 involving an overturned vehicle is causing significant delays between Junction 11 and Junction 10. Motorists are facing delays of up to 1 hour. Additionally, all lanes are shut on the M23 southbound between Junction 8 and Junction 9 due to a police incident. Drive with caution in these areas. And on the trains, there is disruption to Great Western Railway at Guildford, and the Island Line is experiencing reduced service. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though. I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
NATO fighter jets have scrambled to intercept Russian drones. That was in the early hours of this morning. It's been described as an unprecedented violation over Poland.
Well, it marks the first time that Poland has directly engaged Russia in its airspace since the Ukraine war started back in 2022.
Now, this has been called a major escalation, but what will the response be?
President Trump condemns Israeli airstrikes on Qatar that failed to wipe out Hamas's senior leadership.
Tragedy in the Channel. A migrant dies during a surge in small boats. Dozens of others rescued. Yesterday, 600 of them crossed to Britain.
Big questions for the British ambassador to the US. It's been revealed that Lord Mandelson brokered a £1 billion deal with Jeffrey Epstein after the disgraced paedophile had been convicted.
The race to find Labour's next deputy leader is on, but who will win it to replace Angela Rayner?
It's Back British Farming Day. It's the annual NFU campaign to drive support for buying British.
And in sport, England put in an excellent performance to beat Serbia 5-0 in Belgrade last night. As we predicted here, Ange Postecoglou is the new manager of Nottingham Forest. And for the first time in history, horse racing is going on strike.
There's rain around today, and unlike yesterday, most of us will see some. Could be pretty heavy too. Stick around for the details.
Hello there, very good morning to you, however you're watching, however you're listening. Your company is very welcome. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
I want to say on this British Farming Day, we were talking to our reporter Dougie earlier on about the demise of the demise of one of the cows that he has. He's got 2 cows. One is healthy and happy and very productive on all fronts, called Eamonn, and the other one was less productive, and it had to be. I mean, she didn't produce milk, so she had to be sent.
She's been sent away.
Made into sausages.
And she's become a hamburger or something.
Sausages are pigs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sausages are pigs. She'll be a hamburger.
Well, you can have beef sausages. What?
You wouldn't say sausage for a cow, though, would you?
Oh, I just have.
Okay.
She's a state.
I'm sorry. I know you were a farming expert. I know you were in the past, but sausage. I associate sausage.
Her udders weren't up to it.
Were they not?
Apparently not.
You know
no.
what? We laugh, but I feel I'd be the worst. I could never do that.
I know. You'd look into their little eyes.
You'd see them as pets.
I would. I really would.
You couldn't send them away to the slaughterhouse. We'd all be vegan if we were farmers, I think.
That's the way it is. Anyway, that's leading our news this morning. But thank you for your contribution, Paul.
Thank you.
Back in Britain, Channel migrants are in line for millions in compensation as asylum seekers have lodged legal complaints over what they term inhumane conditions.
Yes, almost 200 illegal migrants have lodged complaints with allegations including sexual assault, physical abuse and thefts by guards.
Well, elsewhere on multiple front pages this morning, it's been revealed that convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein brokered a deal with Lord Peter Mandelson over the sale of a British taxpayer-owned banking business after Epstein was convicted of being a paedophile.
Well, joining us now from Westminster is Shadow Transport Secretary Richard Holden. Very good morning to you, Mr. Holden.
Good morning to you guys too.
Can we ask you about Lord Mandelson? So the front page of the Telegraph, many of the papers this morning actually reporting about this deal that was brokered between Jeffrey Epstein and Lord Mandelson over the sale of this banking business. And this is after Jeffrey Epstein had been convicted of child sex offences. And this comes off the back of a birthday book which has been published by US Congress, which shows the two of them as very close friends indeed. Lord Mandelson actually referring to Epstein as his best pal at one stage. Do you think that he should still be the ambassador?
Well, they're incredibly serious questions to get answers to here. I think it's absolutely vital that they are answered very, very quickly indeed. The fact that this has all only come to light now, I mean, surely the Prime Minister knew about all of these issues before appointing Peter Mandelson to one of the most senior UK diplomatic
he
positions
says not.
right around the world. And there are huge questions there. Sorry, Eamonn.
He says not. He says he didn't know about it.
Well, I find it very difficult to believe that in somebody's a file for somebody when they are coming forwards for one of the most senior diplomatic positions, incredibly interlinked to our closest military ally, with all of that at their fingertips, with all of our diplomatic and intelligence security information at their fingertips, that this sort of thing wouldn't have been looked into at the closest levels by the Prime Minister before the appointment.
Richard, could I just ask you what happens? We're leading today with the incursion over Poland, these 4 Russian drones that were shot down. Why is this happening? Do you believe this was an accident, or what's your thinking behind this?
Well, as you'll know, Eamonn, Russians have been constantly trying to buzz the UK airspace, ensuring that we scramble jets from time to time. You might remember a few years ago when they sailed some of their major warships incredibly close to UK waters, right down the channel as well. Look, this is the obvious activity that Russia likes to pursue. I think we've obviously got to be cautious of it, but I don't think we should overreact to these things either. Obviously, there's a much bigger picture going on, and that's how we achieve a final settlement in Ukraine with the consent of the Ukrainian people. I think this is Russia trying to destabilise that. You would expect them to. This is part of a long-term strategy that they have had. But actually, you've seen countries like Poland really step up over the last few years in terms of their defence spending and right across the board, actually, to really provide proper security. So, it might also be a little bit of Russia trying to test those new defences as well.
Can we ask you about the Israeli attack on Qatar yesterday? What did you make of that, and where do you think that leaves us in terms of the peace talks between Israel and Hamas? Because Qatar has been a key mediator in all of this.
Well, I think we've always, we've known from the start, actually, that there's been, Israel has offered for the release of the hostages, a ceasefire. We just need to see those hostages released. I want to see peace in the Middle East. I want to see a sensible two-state solution. But we cannot get there while there are hostages on the ground. I think more broadly, the last thing we want to see is escalation across the region. We know how febrile the situation is there. It's like a tinderbox. You look at the situation in Iran, who are sponsoring Hamas, sponsoring Hezbollah and other terrorist organisations. There's much more at play here than just what's happening in Gaza. There's a massive international implications there. And there'll be people who, like the chap behind me, who will only ever see one side of this situation. They'll only ever see one side, and they'll shout about it constantly, and they think that their voice is more important than other people's. We've seen them on protests in London as well, trying to sideline our Jewish community here and make them feel isolated. I think we want to see a sensible two-state solution, and rather than name-calling, we need to have people around the table.
Mr. Holden, I've just been given this breaking news that 3 migrants died trying to cross the Channel overnight. That's following another death just hours earlier in UK waters. Also got some exclusive figures from GB News that we have now crossed more than 31,000 migrants who've made the journey across the Channel since the start of the year. More than 850 people have arrived in the UK in the past 24 hours. What's your response to that breaking news?
Well, I mean, we all knew this is what would happen. We all know that the only people who benefit from the illegal crossings in the Channel are the human traffickers. They put people's lives at risk. It's a tragedy that more people have died, but we can only stop the Channel crossings with a real deterrent here in the UK. Obviously, that needs to be the Rwanda scheme which we had in place before the election. It was totally ridiculous that it was cancelled. One of the first things that the Labour government did. And actually what we're seeing from that is more people crossing. That means more deaths in the Channel. The Labour government is responsible for the deaths in the Channel because it will not have an effective deterrent there. And it's absolutely essential that we have an effective deterrent. That's how we stop the migrant hotels here. That's how we stop deaths in the Channel. It's having an effective deterrent. That's what happened in Australia when they had that effective deterrent. It's exactly what we need here, and it's a disgrace that the Labour Party have cancelled it, and we're seeing now record numbers of Channel crossings under the new Home Secretary.
As Shadow Transport Secretary, can I ask you about the tube strikes, which have caused huge disruption?
People say that, can I just... There's somebody shouting at me from behind and saying that there weren't any illegal migration to the UK before Brexit. What we saw actually was people dying in the backs of lorries before then. And actually, I think it's absolutely incumbent on any government to have a proper deterrent. So however people get to the UK, however they get to the UK, we do not allow them to come and stay if they're here illegally. Otherwise, we'll see more deaths, like in the backs of lorries or crossing the Channel in small boats.
Okay.
Just a quick one, Richard, on the London Tube situation and the striking that is going on there. I mean, it affects millions of people in London, and if you live in Birmingham or you live in Aberdeen, you may not think this affects you, but it affects the whole of the country. Why is it going on? Do you see any justification for it?
No, Eamonn, that's a really good question. Actually, these tube strikes are costing the country as a whole £270 million every single day. So it'll be over £1 billion these strikes are costing. Under the last Conservative government, we introduced something called minimum service levels, which meant that tubes would have to run at least 40% of the time. Now, they may have been crowded, but at least people would have been able to get to work while respecting the right to strike. I have no idea why this government is, A, trying to rip up that legislation we introduced, and secondly, why it is not implementing today minimum service levels on our tube network. It would be incredibly important to do that. They could do something really, and actually would ensure that we weren't seeing that hit to the UK economy. We've got a Prime Minister who says that growth is his #1 priority, but when it comes down to it, he's not prepared to put his money where his mouth is. Actually, we're seeing those strikes continuing with total closure of the tube network. His top priority is quite clearly his trade union paymasters, who've given tens of millions of pounds to the Labour Party since he became the Labour leader. Otherwise, he would have ended the strikes already with minimum service levels there to ensure that people could get to work.
Okay.
He's Richard Holden. He is the Shadow Transport Secretary. Richard, thank you for your time and your comments today. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, let's return to that breaking news, which is that more than 31,000 migrants have crossed the Channel since the start of the year, after more than 850 people arrived in the UK in the past 24 hours. Let's head to Westminster now, where GB News' political correspondent Catherine Forster joins us live. Morning to you, Catherine.
Yes, good morning. Well, these are horrendous figures, aren't they, for the government? So 31,000 crossed the Channel so far this year. That's up about 50% on the same period last year. So for all the government said that they were going to smash the gangs, the number's going totally in the wrong direction. Also, we heard about a woman dying tragically yesterday. 3 more people died overnight, and 850 people have made that crossing just in the last 24 hours. Now, the government say they're looking at all sorts of different things. There's been all change at the Home Office. There's pretty much a whole-scale clear-out. Yvette Cooper, the previous Home Secretary, has gone over to be Foreign Secretary. Now we have Shabana Mahmood, who was Justice Secretary, who people think is pretty tough and will consider doing things that Yvette Cooper would not have done. They seem to be taking a much tougher line. But look, this is all very difficult for them, because we've seen that they've plunged in the polls. Reform are snapping at their heels. I was interviewing Nigel Farage at the conference the other day, and he was just saying, we'll change the legislation, we'll change the laws, and we will stop the boats within 14 days. Of course, you know, every government says they're going to deal with it, and nobody does, and public anger with it just goes up and up.
Leave it there. Thank you very much indeed. Let's now go to Major Mike Shearer. He's a former British Army spokesperson, and we're going to talk about a number of things, including the Israel attack on Qatar, on Doha yesterday. What do you think of the diplomacy involved in all of this, if there was any?
Well, I think almost certainly it's inconceivable, Eamonn, that the Americans were not given good notice for this. And I think, as one of your guests said earlier this morning, there's a little bit of political stroke diplomatic theatre, or shenanigans, if you like, going on. It just is inconceivable that the Americans didn't know in good time.
The Americans are saying, and indeed the Israelis are saying this as well, that the Pentagon was informed before the White House. I can see how diplomatically that may make a difference. I mean, is it believable?
I think it is believable, but it could well have been an agreed protocol in order to play out this political theatre, if you like. It's possible. But it would have been an agreed protocol if it did happen in that manner.
What did happen again last night was 4 Russian drones over Poland. What are they up to? What is that about? What purpose does that serve?
Well, this is a bit of an escalation by the Russians, but it is not uncommon for the Russians to press the test the resilience of the NATO boundaries. And I think they got a good response from NATO. The Polish Air Force were up sharpish with support from the Netherlands. And this is known as the grey zone. This is antagonizing NATO just to the boundary of war. So it doesn't need to escalate beyond this. But it's not uncommon for Russia to do exactly that, to press the test and see the resilience of NATO.
President Zelensky has been responding to this attack overnight, saying it sets an extremely dangerous precedent for Europe. Would you agree with that assessment?
Well, I think it is the whole thing is a dangerous situation. We have Russia trying to regather its Soviet satellite states of years gone by. And we've got, I'm afraid, Donald Trump needs to waken up, as we've been saying now for months, and give the Ukrainians what they need to win this war, not just to survive it day by day.
What are the options on the table for NATO to respond, if at all? As you say, this is Russia pushing its boundaries.
Well, look, the Russians are very clever. They will not push too hard. They are expert. As I say, this grey zone, it is everything up to, but not quite war. So they're just testing the resilience of NATO. And I think NATO has responded very well.
Mike, thanks for your take on things. Really appreciate that. We're going to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Mike Shearer. With the time at 70 minutes past 8, let's get your weather update. We go to Alex Burkle for the forecast.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, I'm here with your GB News weather update, coming to you from the Met Office. Now today is going to be an unsettled day. Most of us will see some rain at times, could be quite heavy as well, and there will be some blustery winds adding to a relatively cool feel. Plenty of showery rain around this morning, and it's fairly widespread as we go through the day, so most places likely to see some bursts of it, but across western areas it's perhaps going to be a bit more frequent. Some heavier showery rain affecting western parts of Scotland, maybe into parts of Northern Ireland as we go into the afternoon as well. Temperatures are going to be around or a touch below average for the time of year, and in the rain under the cloud with some blustery winds, well, it's going to feel relatively cool for most of us as well. More wet weather to come as we go through the end of the day, actually across some parts of Scotland, particularly towards the west and the south. A spell of more persistent heavy rain pushing through, so we could see some high rainfall totals building up here. Elsewhere across Northern Ireland, some fairly frequent showers still to come through this evening, and across the rest of the UK really the showery theme continues, and these showers could be quite heavy. We're talking 10 to 20 millimetres in an hour or so, maybe 30 millimetres in just a few hours, and so a little bit of flash flooding not out of the question, even a bit of thunder and some hail. The more persistent showery rain pushes away towards the northeast as we go overnight, but then more showers will be piling in from the west, and so western areas staying quite showery, a bit drier with some clear skies across central and eastern parts, and as a result, with more clear skies than we saw last night, temperatures dropping a fair bit lower. Particularly away from towns and cities, likely to drop into single digits. Then through tomorrow, staying cloudy and wet across some western parts of Scotland in particular, some blustery strong winds here, risk of gales for some. Elsewhere it's a day of sunshine and showers. Further east you have a greater chance of avoiding the showers, but even here I am expecting a few to push through at times. There will be some sunny spells on offer in between the showers, but temperatures, if anything, a little bit lower than today. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now it's time for the Great British Giveaway now. It's actually our biggest prize package to date, worth over £104,000.
It is a biggie. It has never been bigger, and it's your chance to drive away with a brand new 4-berth motorhome and £30,000 in tax-free cash. Here's how you do it.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Still to come, just more on that breaking news. 31,000 migrants crossed the channel so far this year.
Yes, what is being done about it? We're going to be discussing more on that next.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
1, 2, 3. The iconic Gretna Green. For over 270 years, couples have travelled here to be wed. What started in 1754 as a way for under-18s to marry without parental consent has now become a hotspot for lovebirds to say I do.
Guys, you've just gotten married here at Gretna Green. How are you feeling?
Amazing, really, really good. Happy that we've come and celebrated here.
We didn't want anything big, nothing extreme, and it was simple, easy to do.
David and Jenny now have their honeymoon and the rest of their lives to look forward to. But, as is the story for most modern couples, getting married wasn't just about love.
When you're married, everything's like legal-wise is just so much more simpler rather than having to worry about lawyers and stuff like that later on.
To have the same last name as the kids as well is quite a big thing for me.
In England, Scotland and Wales, the laws around marriage are complex and engulfed in red tape. To make things worse, the average cost of a wedding is now over £23,000. Gretna Green is calling on the government to appoint a dedicated marriage czar.
We believe marriage is struggling not because love is dead, it's because the system is broken. People don't seem to see marriage as an important thing. It provides great stability. Marriage matters. There's economic benefits, there's social benefits, and the government have got to show some leadership. And we're calling for a czar because we want someone to be the voice of marriage in this country.
Every year, around 4,000 newlyweds are married at Gretna Green. But with a change in the law, it seems that many more, both here and across the UK, could be saying I do. Sophie Reaper.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. Now, let's just remind ourselves of that breaking news that more than 31,000 migrants have crossed the Channel since the start of the year, after more than 850 people arrived in the UK in the past 24 hours.
Well, French maritime patrols scrambled to rescue more than 150 people in difficulty early this morning. A number have been injured, several suffering from hypothermia, and were taken to Boulogne around 7 a.m, where the French emergency services were waiting to triage the injured.
Well, let's hear now from journalist and broadcaster Suzanne Evans. And what's your response to that breaking story, Suzanne, that crossings have reached 31,000 so far this year?
Shocking, isn't it? Absolutely shocking. I understand it's a 37% increase on last year, which was in itself a 37% increase on the year before. How are we going to stop this? There just doesn't seem to be the will in government, and I have to say for the previous government either, to do something about this. You know, here we have a situation, a tragic situation yesterday where 3 people died, but the fact is it's not going to deter the people smugglers, it's not going to deter the migrants themselves. It sounds harsh, but if you look at that 3-death figure, as a total so far this year, it's less than 0.01%. So the risk that you're taking is still very small when you're coming across the Channel. Now, combine that with the news that we've also had and that you've been talking about this morning about compensation payments for migrants. I think a lot of us waking up this morning and hearing this news are shocked that you can get a standard £500 if you're detained for more than 24 hours when you arrive illegally.
So your life can be saved. I mean, your life could be at risk, but you ultimately can be saved and whatever, and then you're still in line to sue the people who saved you.
For a minimal risk, you can effectively pay a people smuggler to get across the channel in a small boat and then get far more money, effectively winning a sort of obscene migrant lottery. It's bonkers. I mean, if the government doesn't win these cases, it just adds another pull factor to the extensive pull factors that you already have to make that perilous journey. You know, put you up in a 5-star hotel, put you on benefits, potential to stay in Britain forever and then bring in your dependents later on. And here we have another pull factor. Yeah, get lots of compensation and start your new life in the UK with up to £200,000 in the bank. We know that's what one migrant has been paid. I think it was over £203,000. It is just the most ridiculous situation. And here are ordinary people just scratching their heads thinking, why on earth is the government allowing this? It seems to be
it's the European Court of Human Rights, isn't it?
Well, that's the European Convention, which is, of course, is the way in which this compensation is the claim is being brought. It seems, you know, despite Brexit, we are still in the lap of all manner of things continental European. So yeah, immense frustration. People really do feel now, I think, that there is a migrant first policy, that so many of our tax resources are going into this problem, and as a consequence, we're being ever more heavily taxed to basically let people from overseas just come and take the mickey.
I mean, Suzanne, some of the allegations in this story about channel migrants being in line for millions of compensation, some of the allegations are serious, including sexual assault, physical abuse, theft of property by guards, diphtheria, scabies, all of that sort of thing. This is RAF-based Mandelson, where this is being alleged. But we saw similar sorts of allegations about the Bibi Stockholm, didn't we? So, I mean, another thing that this story highlights is there is no silver bullet when it comes to accommodation for asylum seekers. I mean, this is a government that's saying that they're going to close down asylum hotels by 2029. They're saying hopefully before. But there's always going to be these sorts of legal challenges.
It is. I mean, I have to say, you know, reading that litany of horrors this morning, if any of that is remotely true, then it is a shocking indictment of the way in which these migrants are being held. And yes, absolutely, utterly reprehensible. But there were also claims being brought for the fact that they didn't have enough access to hot water or to soap, showers and toilets or clean clothes. You know, you just think, really, these are supposedly people coming from desperate, war-torn countries who are legitimate refugees, who are desperate to escape the most appalling conditions in their home countries, and yet they come here and complaining about a little bit of hot water. I mean, that's how it sounds, isn't it, really? Not trying to belittle any serious things that might have gone on, but the fact that these are also part of the court cases, I think really...
And the potential exists to make those claims. Suzanne Evans, thanks you for your opinion today. Suzanne has had her say. You can have your say. Get in touch with us. We will register what you've had to say and we'll reflect that through the programme. And a big programme happening tonight here on GB News at 7 o'clock tonight. It's a 2-hour special and it's what, Ellie?
The Farage Immigration 2-hour special. Yep, GB News will be covering some astonishing exclusive stories, speaking to stellar guests and providing world-class analysis. So don't forget to tune into that tonight, 7 p.m. on GB News. Also, looking for your views on that, farage@gbnews.com.
Yeah, and I think what Suzanne was talking about today and highlighting those claims being made against British officialdom, I think a lot of people may have something to say on that, that whole subject as well. Traffic and travel news, let's have a look.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the A720 at the Sheriff Hall roundabout, a broken down vehicle causes partial blockages. Proceed with caution and anticipate delays. Surrey drivers on the M23 southbound between junctions 8 and 9 face disruption due to a police incident closing all lanes, expected to clear by 9:53 this morning. Additionally, the M25 southbound at junction 30 clockwise exit in Thurrock has a lane closure from a broken down vehicle with normal conditions expected by 8:44 this morning. And on the trains, there is disruption on the Great Western Railway at Guildford, with reduced service on the Island Line. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Just an update on that Peter Mandelson situation. He says that he finds his birthday message to the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein very embarrassing. He is, of course, Mr. Mandelson is the UK ambassador to America, and he says, I find the accusations very embarrassing to see and to read, but they were written before he was indicted. He says, I just feel two things now. One, I feel a profound sense of sympathy for those people, those women who suffered as a result of his behaviour and his illegal criminal activities. And secondly,
I regret very, very deeply indeed carrying on that association with him for far longer than I should have done. This birthday book, which was published by US Congress, shows birthday messages from Lord Mandelson to Jeffrey Epstein in 2002, and he was then found to be a criminal in 2008, so he's saying he wasn't aware of any of that wrongdoing at the time and now deeply regrets that friendship.
Racing is on strike for the first time ever in this country. Why? What's happening? Where's it not happening? Going to tell you all that next.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Horse racing, the big sports story today. No horse racing at Lingfield, Carlisle, Uttoxeter and Kempton. It's all over a tax grab by the government. They're increasing tax on betting and what you would pay at a race course. And I think the thing is, Paul, a lot of people are saying, look, this is not as simple as just increasing the tax here. This is going to affect a lot of jobs.
What they're doing, they're increasing the tax along with gambling for online gamblers when it comes, like casinos and slots.
Yeah.
That's at 21%. But if you gamble on racing, then that's at 15%. Now, what they want to do is just align it with the rest of the online gambling.
But racing's saying there's a price to pay for that.
There you go, because the thing is, you've got all this online casinos, it doesn't have the infrastructure that racing's had for the last goodness knows how many 100 years, and the thousands of people that are involved, and it's going to affect them all.
Yeah.
And so the whole of the racing industry has decided, look, this is so serious, and so much money's going to be lost, we are going to strike and we're not going to race for the day.
One thing I want to do this year is to go to more horse racing.
Yes.
I enjoy it socially. I can't pretend I know my horse flesh or anything like that, but it is a good day out. And I think we're going to reflect this now in Sophie Reaper's package, just about socially, what this means for jobs, what this means to racing. You can have your say on all of this after this report.
There they go.
A great British institution. Horse racing has been enjoyed around the world for thousands of years.
Now they're in the straight and it's the last yard that counts.
Through the ages, the sport has grown rapidly in popularity, bolstered by support from various monarchs, all the way from Charles I through to George V and our modern-day royal family. Now it's the second most popular spectator sport in the UK, with over 6 million people attending our racecourses every single year.
Crowd estimated at 300,000 to see the Grand National.
That is, of course, capped off by the biggest horse race in the world, the Grand National. Iconic and spectacular, Aintree draws the eyes of over 600 million people from all over the globe every April for this historic race.
Quite simply, racing is part of what makes us British. No other sport can match the sort of cultural, societal, economic, sporting significance to Britain.
Horse racing also generates around £4 billion for the British economy each year, as well as providing almost 100,000 jobs. However, in response to the government's proposed tax increases on racing, today, for the first time in modern history, British horse racing will be on strike.
It brings that message home loud and clear to the Chancellor, to Number 10, that right across this country, there are communities that are utterly dependent upon horse racing. And if they go ahead with that tax increase, what will happen is those communities will be massively damaged.
The proposals from the Treasury could mean a hike in racing taxes from 15% to the 21% currently paid by the likes of online casinos and games. A spokesperson from the department has said, "We are consulting on bringing the treatment of online betting in line with other forms of online gambling to cut down bureaucracy. It is not about increasing or decreasing rates, and we welcome views from all stakeholders, including businesses, trade bodies, the third sector and individuals." Horse racing remains a significant part of our British heritage. But for today at least, this historic sport will leave our racetracks empty. Sophie Reaper, GB News.
You know, I did, racing was, I always loved sport, but racing was something I was never really into. And then I was doing a radio show and they said, look, we've got a racing segment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
5 minutes, which then turned into 15 minutes, then turned into 20 minutes. And I found myself completely obsessed with the whole thing for a while.
Yeah.
And when you start finding out more about what's going on, more about the jockeys, more about the horses, now it's slipped away again for a minute.
Yeah.
But it is incredibly... It's really interesting and it's also incredibly important.
It's a great social day out. I always admire people who find time to go to it.
It's a great day out. But that's the thing, it's going to have a wider impact, isn't it? On hospitality, on fashion houses, on milliners, I mean, everything.
That's your side of the racing.
That's my side. That's my side of the racing and the hospitality. Because I think of the
talking about hospitality, Harry Kane, the England football captain last night, he was very hospitable to a new kid on the block.
Well, Jed Spence, who plays at Spurs, and he had a bit of a tough time when he moved, and then it came to Tottenham, and then he wasn't picked, and he was kept out of the team. Started making his name, and now he's got a call up for England. Now, what they do before, as soon as a new cap is given, because it literally is a cap. They do get the cap.
Yeah.
And Harry Kane, being the captain before this great 5-0 win against Serbia, was in the dressing room, and so as the captain, he gives a speech. And I think it's interesting to see behind the scenes what goes on. So have a look at this. And I really like this. This is Harry Kane presenting Jed Spence with his first England cap.
We had a new debut today. I asked to do this because I saw this player 3-4 years ago at Tottenham, and he had to go through a lot. He had to keep his head up. He had to work hard, and now he's an England player, so he fully deserves this. I'm a little bit emotional because I know how much it takes to get here, and yeah, I saw what it was like, and it was tough for you. So credit to you, your family, everyone involved. You deserve this one. So.
Nice. I just really like that. We don't see that enough, how emotional it is. But well done, Jed Spence. Well done, Harry, as well. And well done, England. 5-0 against Serbia. Brilliant performance last night. So the World Cup is beckoning.
And well done you, Paul. Thank you very much indeed for everything this morning. Enjoyed slicing your pretzels.
Thank you very much, Coity. Now, do stay with us. Still to come, should Peter Mandelson resign? We're going to be discussing that next as we head through the papers. But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, and many places around southern Europe will have a lot of fine weather, but not everywhere. The heavy thundery rain that's been plaguing parts of Italy recently, that's pushing its way north and eastwards into parts of Greece, and there's still the risk of some thunder as it makes its way through. Elsewhere, lots of dry weather, yes, but across some parts of northern Portugal and northwest Spain, it is going to be pretty wet, even some strong winds. Otherwise, a largely fine picture as we go through into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, Jeremy Clarkson is being praised for his role in inspiring the next generation of farmers. His documentary shows the ups and downs of British farm life, and now the Royal Agricultural University in Gloucestershire has credited it with a rise in applications. Good stuff, eh? We can now speak with the agriculture student at Gloucestershire's Hartpury University, Joseph Watkins. Joseph, thank you so much for joining me. What a scene you've got there. Do you think it's going to inspire another generation? You're a young man yourself. How has it inspired you at all?
For anyone watching, it's just amazing to see, isn't it? All the different steps they take, all the different revenues which they can create on farm. So I think it's really good for the public. And if it does something to help get people into the industry, I think that's an amazing thing. Agriculture has both a lack of skilled talent and just a lack of people in the industry anyway. So if someone wants to go and do a college course or university course to get into the agriculture industry because they watch Jeremy Clarkson, this old pot-bellied Top Gear man, then I think it's great. And I say that with all due respect. I love Top Gear.
Well, we were talking about the ups and downs of farm life. What are the, first of all, let's start with the ups. What are the ups?
They're pretty beautiful ladies, you know, surrounded by 600 lovely ladies. That's certainly something. Working outside, you know, you're working with your hands. It's definitely a rewarding experience to be able to go home after a long day and think, right, everything's taken care of. All of these cows are all happy. Some of the downs, well, it's difficult, isn't it? You've heard this, I'm sure you know. The family farm tax has been in the news lately. At the early mornings, late nights, being away from friends and family, strenuous jobs and, you know, often at times dangerous. So there's ups and downs to it, but as you can see now, I think the positives outweigh the negatives for me.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We're going through the papers with Penny Smith and Norman Baker. And Norman, should we get your views on Lord Mandelson, who has responded to that birthday message in the birthday book to
My views on Lord Mandelson are really
Jeffrey Epstein.
Unbroadcastable, but in terms of what's been coming out, he's still spinning. He was a top spinmeister for Labour. He's still spinning because he's told the Sun's Harry Cole, I find his comments in this birthday book very embarrassing to see and to read, but they were written before he was indicted, trying to give the impression that he cut all dealings with
well, he also said I regret very deeply carrying on the association with him for far longer than I should have.
Yes, but the implication is that he wasn't involved very deeply with them. But on the front page of the Telegraph, which is a good story, he brokered a deal with Epstein brokered a deal with Lord Mandelson over the sale of a UK taxpayer-owned banking business after he'd been convicted of child sex offences. Now, that was public knowledge, but Mandelson was still dealing with Epstein at that point.
Yeah, after he was indicted. Yes, then that's the point, isn't it? But then you've also got that story about the Prince Andrew's links to...
Yeah, I mean, the more that comes out about Epstein, you realise all these guys who said, oh, nothing to do with me, mate, they're all up to their neck in it. And this latest one with the story in the Mirror is that one of Epstein's lieutenants, as they're called, a 22-year-old divorcee, no less, was able to get access to the inner workings of Buckingham Palace, to sit on the Queen's throne, to see the private parts of Buckingham Palace, thanks to Prince Andrew.
So this was in the same... This is in this, the notorious 50th birthday album, is it?
Yes.
Is that... So it's all come out of that?
All in there.
Yeah. I mean, Prince Andrew, of course, denies any wrongdoing, always has done. So that's just important to say. Back to Mandelson, what do you think this means in terms of his tenure as British ambassador? I mean, some critics pointing to the state visit next week with Donald Trump. He's going to have a key role in that. Do you think he should still be ambassador?
Well, of course, Donald Trump is involved with Epstein as well. Let's not forget that. But
denies that.
Denies that as well.
He denies that, but everything's fake news for Donald Trump, isn't it? It's embarrassing. There's photographs of the two together, so there's no question that they were heavily involved together. Look, I mean, the thing about Mandelson was he was appointed by Starmer after two resignations in government, after he'd brokered this deal with Epstein, following Epstein's conviction. So the question really is for Starmer, why did you appoint this man?
Well, Starmer says he doesn't know about or wasn't aware of the extent of their friendship.
Well, he should have been aware of it. You're supposed to do checks on these things before you appoint people to be ambassador.
Also, was Lord Mandelson the only kind of candidate here? What was
exactly so? Exactly so. So there's questions. I don't think he should be there as the ambassador to the UK. I think he should be replaced.
Penny?
It just looks wrong.
Yeah, the optics are not good.
Yeah, optics.
Penny, let's look at Ozempic. It can weigh heavily on holidays, says the Times.
I suppose, really, deep down, this is about insurance. This is about travel insurance, health insurance, and about Ozempic. People not knowing whether or not they should put this down because, of course, you know, it's something that they have... When it's something that they have chosen to do. I mean, I would say, you know, insurance... Sometimes, I'm sorry, but with respect, it does seem like a scam because they often don't pay up for something that you know...
There'll be a loophole, won't there?
There'll be a
small print.
Tiny small print, something or other. And they're saying that you really, you know, you have to put down that you're doing Ozempic because otherwise otherwise it might not be covered. In fact, Admiral here, quoted in this piece is in the Times. Some UK insurers, such as Admiral, have added specific sections on the website about weight loss jabs to warn consumers that they must declare they use them when buying cover. You know, they always say, if you're unsure of what to declare, contact your insurer directly to check. It's so funny because I got quite narky when I was going through a list. I seem to have been on the phone for about 7 days going through... I mean, I've barely had anything. Anyway, and so when they said no, and you haven't in the last 5 years and everything, I said, I tell you what, can I just take you back to... So when I was 2, I had measles. When I was 10, I had tonsillitis, and I had tonsillitis, and you don't need to go back that far. And I said, I don't know, maybe I do.
Yeah, maybe.
Norman, let's have a look at this story about a home being lost over a 1-foot strip of land.
Well,
in the
there's
Sun.
a couple of planning stories here which, in a sense, bring into question how the planning system works. This is, in a sense, a sad story because a pensioner has lost £113,000 in legal fees, having had a 5-year dispute over a 1-foot strip of land.
1 foot.
1 foot strip of land, because where the fence was allegedly put up in the wrong place by her neighbour. And the question was tilted without merit, according to the judge, who's dismissed her latest claim. But, I mean, she may have to now sell her house, which is a rather sad outcome from this whole business. And she's a pensioner and everything else. But, I mean, you know, to be honest with you, is it worth going through all that for a 1-foot strip of land? The other planning story is this guerrilla warfare in the suburbs. Guerrilla warfare, as in G-O-R-I-L-L-A.
Yes, so the animal.
Which is this... and we've got a picture of it anywhere. But this is where a mum has put up an ape figure outside the house.
Quite a big one.
Why?
4-foot-high gorilla statue in front of her house. and the councillor said it's out of keeping with the neighbourhood and requires planning permission. She said, oh, the neighbours like it, all the locals like it. But, you know, there's a question of how far planning permission should be required. I think it probably should be in this case.
Yes.
Why would you want a gorilla statue in the front
Why
of your
would you
house?
indeed?
That's my question.
Except I quite like that one with the shark in the roof. You know, that one.
And also in Brighton, the Jiggy York Theatre has a couple of legs sticking out of the top of it.
Have fun with it. Penny, quite an obvious one. A ban on phones in class improves grades.
Yeah, look, here comes Sherlock Holmes to tell us what we already knew. Yes, it is quite staggering, but they obviously had to do an experiment to prove it. This was 17,000 students in India. Those obliged to hand in their phones before lessons began performed better academically and then ended up supporting the ban. So what they're saying is that the effect is roughly pretty much half as large on average as the improvement typically seen when a pupil's taught by a very good teacher rather than an average one. And they've done it in Australia and it's worked like a dream.
OK.
Just confirming news last night on the Channel situation, we can now confirm that amongst the deaths last night, 2 children amongst those migrants who died last night, 2 children.
Yeah, this coming from the local officials who said they were likely crushed at the bottom of the boat. We'll have more for you on this at the top of the next hour after a check on the weather with Alex Burkle.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. I'm here with your GB News weather update, coming to you from the Met Office. Now, today is going to be an unsettled day. Most of us will see some rain at times. Could be quite heavy as well, and there will be some blustery winds adding to a relatively cool feel. Plenty of showery rain around this morning, and it's fairly widespread as we go through the day. So most places likely to see some bursts of it, but across western areas it's perhaps going to be a bit more frequent. Some heavier showery rain affecting western parts of Scotland, maybe into parts of Northern Ireland as we go into the afternoon as well. Temperatures are going to be around or a touch below average for the time of year, and in the rain under the cloud with some blustery winds, well, it's going to feel relatively cool for most of us as well. More wet weather to come as we go through the end of the day, actually across some parts of Scotland, particularly towards the west and the south. A spell of more persistent heavy rain pushing through, so we could see some high rainfall totals building up here. Elsewhere across Northern Ireland, some fairly frequent showers still to come through this evening, and across the rest of the UK, really, the showery theme continues, and these showers could be quite heavy. We're talking 10 to 20 millimetres in an hour or so, maybe 30 millimetres in just a few hours, and so a little bit of flash flooding not out of the question, even a bit of thunder and some hail. The more persistent showery rain pushes away towards the northeast as we go overnight, but then more showers will be piling in from the west, and so western areas staying quite showery, a bit drier with some clear skies across central and eastern parts, and as a result, with more clear skies than we saw last night, temperatures dropping a fair bit lower, particularly away from towns and cities, likely to drop into single digits. Then through tomorrow, staying cloudy and wet across some western parts of Scotland in particular, some blustery strong winds here, risk of gales for some. Elsewhere, it's a day of sunshine and showers. Further east, you have a greater chance of avoiding the showers, but even here, I am expecting a few to push through at times. There will be some sunny spells on offer in between the showers, but temperatures, if anything, a little bit lower than today. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Travellers should proceed cautiously on the A720 Sheriff Hall roundabout due to a broken down vehicle causing delays. On the M25, minor congestion at junction 30 clockwise exit restricts traffic to one lane. Normal conditions are expected by 9:15 this morning. The M23 southbound between junctions 8 and 9 is closed due to a police incident. Normal traffic flow is expected to resume between 10:15 and 10:30 this morning. And on the trains, expect disruptions between Wendover and Great Missenden on Chiltern Railways. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Good morning. NATO fighter jets scrambled to intercept Russian drones in the early hours of this morning in what's being described as an unprecedented violation in Poland.
Now, this marks the first time Poland has directly engaged Russia in its airspace since the Ukraine war started.
Well, it's being described as a major escalation, but what will the response from NATO be?
More than 31,000 migrants have crossed the Channel since the start of the year. That's after more than 850 have arrived in the past 24 hours. And breaking news coming into us, sadly, 2 children were amongst 3 migrants who drowned in the Channel this morning. 3 others still missing, so 2 children have lost their lives.
President Trump condemns Israeli airstrikes on Qatar that failed to wipe out Hamas senior leadership.
Questions for the British ambassador, Lord Mandelson. He says he finds his birthday message to the paedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein very embarrassing.
The race to find Labour's next deputy leader is on, but who will win it to replace Angela Rayner?
The Prime Minister's reshuffle and the rise of reform dominate discussions at the TUC conference. Our reporter Olivia Utley there for us this morning.
Yes, I'm in Brighton, where the unions are issuing veiled threats at the government. Push through the Workers' Rights Bill in full or risk losing our support and our money. Find out more with me very soon.
It's Back British Farming Day, the annual NFU campaign to drive support for buying British.
There's rain around today, and unlike yesterday, most of us will see some. Could be pretty heavy too. Stick around for the details.
Wednesday morning, good morning. Thank you for your company. With you until 9:30. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
This is sad news that we are beginning with. Amongst the 31,000 migrants who have crossed the Channel since the start of the year, we hear 3 deaths so far this morning, 2 of those children.
Yes, it's after more than 850 people arrived in the UK in the past 24 hours. And that sad development that we've heard in the past few minutes, that news that 2 children were among 3 migrants who drowned in the Channel, 3 others still missing.
OK, let's go live now. Catherine Foster will give us the latest on this and those deaths, that situation. Catherine, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Terrible news from the Channel overnight. We knew yesterday that a woman had sadly lost her life about 10 miles off the coast of Dover in UK waters, but now overnight another 3 people have died in French waters, according to the Prefect of the Pas-de-Calais. That includes 2 children. We also understand that 3 people are still missing. Efforts underway to try to find them. Apparently, the French had to scramble to rescue over 150 people that got into difficulty early this morning, trying to get across. A really desperate situation, as the numbers now are over 31,000 people who've crossed that Channel this year. That compares to 23,000 for the same period last year, and 850 people just in the last 24 hours alone. So you can really see that despite Rishi Sunak saying he'd stop the boats, Keir Starmer saying smash the gangs, the numbers are going in the wrong direction, and there is a huge human cost, an incredibly dangerous crossing, and also a huge cost for us as British taxpayers having to look after the people when they do arrive, and a huge political cost because people, a lot of them are just fed up to the back teeth of seeing these pictures, seeing these rising numbers, and feeling that Britain has a lot of things already that we need to spend money on, and that this shouldn't be a priority. The priority should be stopping the boat. Shabana Mahmood, the new Home Secretary, we expect to be much tougher. She apparently is going to take a harder line, but they will need to act quickly because they really don't seem to have a grip on this at all at the moment. And of course, we heard about that 1-in, 1-out French deal. Well, we know that they've detained people ready to send back to France, but so far they haven't sent anybody back. And, you know, without an active deterrent, surely these numbers are just going to keep going up.
OK, Catherine, thank you very much.
Final day of the TUC conference. Emergency motions being discussed all morning. Keir Starmer's cabinet reshuffle and the rise of reform have dominated discussions. Of course, we have this special immigration debate programme, 2 hours tonight, live here on GB News.
Well, we're now joined by GB News political correspondent Olivia Utley, who is there for us. And Olivia, reform, obviously a big part of this conference, but also the workers' rights bill. And we could see the unions use this as a threat towards Labour. Tell us more.
Well, absolutely. It's been quite a tetchy, uncomfortable conference down here in Brighton, with the union sort of threatening Keir Starmer in a veiled sort of a way. Paul Novak, the General Secretary of the TUC, who has previously been pretty cautious in his criticism of the government, was much, much more open in his speech to Congress on Monday. He said that the government isn't doing enough. It must do more to push forward workers' rights. And as you said, this workers' rights bill is at the very centre of all of this. The unions are worried that with the departure of Angela Rayner and the Employment Minister, Justin Madders, who was sacked in the reshuffle last week, that employment rights bill is going to be watered down. That is something that they desperately don't want to happen. Now, yesterday, Bridget Phillipson, the Education Secretary, who is now running as Deputy Labour leader, spoke to Congress and said that she said the bill would not be watered down, that the government was willing to overturn Lord's amendments. I'm here with Nicola Smith, who's the Policy Director of the TUC. Nicola, were you reassured by Bridget Phillipson's assurances that this bill will not be watered down?
We are confident, never complacent, that the government is going to deliver this really important legislation which will deliver real change for people at work and for viewers across the country. You know, what this legislation means is a right to a secure hours contract, an end to a situation where people have their shifts cancelled at short notice, even when they've made other childcare arrangements, they've got their travel sorted out, an end to a situation where even if someone sends you a text at the last minute, says there's no work for you today, that you don't get compensation for it. So these changes will mean improvements in security for working people's lives across the country. The message from TUC Congress is they are important, they are the change that people at work across the UK voted for, and we are confident the government is now going to get on and deliver them.
Thank you very much. Well, that was Nicola Smith there, issuing a bit of a stark warning to Keir Starmer. She says that she is confident but not complacent. Let's see what pans out in the next few weeks as this bill makes its way back through the Lords and then back through the Commons in ping pong. If it is watered down in any way, there are some unions who I've been speaking to over the last few days who are prepared to withdraw their support from Labour.
Olivia, thanks for putting us in the picture. Appreciate that. Thank you. The time, 8 minutes now past 9 o'clock. Good morning to you on this Wednesday morning. Hope your day is going well so far.
And it's time now for the Great British Giveaway, our biggest prize package to date, worth over £104,000.
You're just pulling my leg.
I'm not. Your chance to drive away with a brand new 4-berth motorhome and a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash.
Yeah, it is absolutely incredible. Put it all together. This is what you get, and here's how you enter.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck indeed. Up next, NATO fighter jets scrambled to intercept Russian drones. This is over Poland. Is it an escalation in tensions within the West? We'll find out. We'll be reporting on that right after this. Please don't go away.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
NATO jets scrambled overnight. This is over Poland to shoot down Russian drones that invaded their airspace.
Yes, it marks what could be a major escalation in the region, and people have been urged to stay indoors as Polish armed forces identified and neutralised the objects.
Let's speak to former British Army spokesperson Major Mike Shearer. The second time we've spoken to you this morning, Mike, and just we're getting a lot of condemnation, particularly Europe talking tough on this, and they want more sanctions and whatever. But actually, how tough can they actually talk? What can they do?
Well, all Europe can do, and let's just say Europe, NATO for the time being, is what they have done. So very quickly, the Polish Air Force got into the air. They dealt with the drones with the support of the Netherlands. With regards to sanctions, that really has to come from Donald Trump. And I've mentioned some time before that we need to put absolute sanctions on Russia. And that is what Trump is trying to do at the minute. And that means that anybody that is dealing with Russia, they need to be heavily sanctioned themselves. We need to dry up his war economy, and that will concentrate not just his mind, the people of Russia's mind.
And you reckon that there's a lot more to do on that front, a lot more that we can actually do?
Well, I think militarily we're doing all we can do. I think the sanctions are the way ahead for Russia to dry up his economy.
And in terms of the attack that we saw last night, is it your view that this was a deliberate act by the Kremlin? Because we've been hearing from the Polish Prime Minister today, who says there's been a huge number of Russian drones that have violated the country. Now, that's different to the reports that we got earlier this morning, that it was just 4.
Yes, well, of course, numbers always matter in war. Critical mass is always what's important. But notwithstanding, they have dealt with it as they should have done. And Putin will know now that it's not an easy entrance to Polish airspace.
And Volodymyr Zelensky reacting to this morning, saying this is another step of escalation by Russia. Is that something that you would agree with in terms of that assessment, or do you think this is just the same as what we've seen before, testing their boundaries, testing NATO's resolve?
I mean, it is an escalation because they've moved themselves into the airspace of Poland. But it's not unusual. This is something that the Russians do all the time. It's known as the grey zone within warfare, and it is antagonizing the West, but just enough, but not as far as actual war. So they press the test, and they do it often. And I think they've had a very good response from the Polish and from those NATO countries, Poland and indeed the Netherlands.
Yeah. Well, Mike, listen, really, thanks for your analysis. Really appreciate it. We're out of time. Got to say goodbye to you. Thanks for your contributions this morning.
Thank you.
And today, it's Support British Farmers Day. It is also the National Day of Gibraltar. And what does that do?
Well, it commemorates the country's first referendum in 1967, where citizens chose to remain under British sovereignty.
Now, events are going to be held throughout the day to celebrate Union flags decorating the streets of Gibraltar today. We hope we've put you in the mood. Jack Carson, our man there this morning to tell us more and to bring us a bit of that atmosphere. Good morning there, Mr. Jack.
Oh, it looks like lovely weather.
Good morning. It's not only beautiful weather, but it is just such an amazing atmosphere. National Day today is all about the people of Gibraltar celebrating their self-determination and celebrating that referendum back in the 1960s about retaining British sovereignty. Now, we want to speak to who have been called is unofficially Mr. Gibraltar, Johnny Walker. Just tell us, you're a Gibraltarian.
I'm a Gibraltarian, born.
What is National Day all about for you? What does it mean?
National Day is being proud to be British. British. If you're born in Gibraltar, you get a birth certificate that says British citizen. You're made for life. Made for life, forever and ever, amen. Gibraltar is a special place. People in Gibraltar are special people. We're all British. If you're born here, we're all British, and we're all well looked after by our government. Our government is a GSLP Liberals at the moment. They give us everything, practically free. No complaints at all. So being British in Gibraltar is like being a rich person. We're all rich here in Gibraltar. Everything is free. Everything is free. No joke. This is our National Day, which was brought on by Sir Joe Bossano, which was our Chief Minister before. He's 86 now, and he's still going strong, like Johnny Walker. Right. So being British is a privilege and a way of life. So anybody that wants to come to a secure place in the world to live, come to Gibraltar. The most secure place in the world nowadays is Gibraltar. Peace on earth as it is in. Peace on earth as it is in heaven. But I've changed it. Peace on earth as it is in Gibraltar.
Now, tell me, because back in the UK, there's a whole debate at the moment around flying the Union flag. But we can see your T-shirt, you've got the flags are flying all here. Why in Gibraltar is it so different? Why are you so proud to fly the Union flag here?
Well, because I'm British. I mean, if people are afraid of flying the Union Jack in the UK, they're losing it. They're losing it completely. Britishness is the first thing in the UK. I used to work in the UK many years back, and everybody was proud to be British. Nowadays, there's too many people from outside mixing it all up and harassing. We have to do away with it. No, we have to put our laws. If you come to my country, you do what I tell you, right? And if you don't like it, you can go somewhere else. That's the way it is. No way out.
And just finally, so what are you going to be doing? How are you going to be spending National Day?
National Day today is here in Casement Square, which is the centre of Gibraltar. Our politicians are coming over. The MPs from UK are coming over. Bob Neal will be here, which was given the freedom of the city of Gibraltar. He's a MP who's given a lot for Gibraltar many years back, and is still doing it. So, being British, we're part of Great Britain. We're not in the EU. The EU doesn't like us. No, we're not in the EU. I'm sorry. I voted out, by the way. I voted out because I don't like being in a team where they don't like me. So I am British citizen, and we're all under the same umbrella. My Queen Elizabeth was 70 years my queen. She's in heaven now. Elizabeth, I love you. And now we have Charlie Boy. You know who Charlie Boy is?
Yeah.
King Charles III. He's very good to us. He's had his ups and downs, but now he's on the right track. And I'm inviting him to Gibraltar for fish and chips.
There we go. Well, that's a beautiful way to end. Johnny Walker, thank you so much. Enjoy. As I say, unofficially kind of Mr. Gibraltar there, but you could hear from what he said, and it's pretty much the same when you talk to everyone here. They're really proud to be Gibraltarian, but they're also so proud to be British. And of course, today, really going back to that initial referendum in the 1960s, celebrating remaining. 99% of people in that referendum wanted to remain under British sovereignty, and that really is what today here in Gibraltar is all about.
Bringing it to us, Jack. Appreciate that. Nice atmosphere. Wish we were there with you.
Or the castle.
Well, do you know what? You are always welcome to come along with me to Gibraltar. Second time I've been here now. Please, if I come a third time, you're all welcome.
Good man. Cheers, Jack.
We should do that. We should do breakfast from Gibraltar.
We should. A good idea.
I think it's a fantastic idea.
So, Jack, was it a year since we last spoke to you there?
Well, I was last here a few months ago around the treaty, the post-Brexit deal treaty, and we were speaking to people here around how they felt about why that treaty was so important, and that really is all about securing the future of Gibraltar, and today is celebrating its history and its future, remaining the people here want under British sovereignty.
Well, we look forward to your reports throughout the day, my friend, and bringing us that sunshine. Thank you very much.
Jack.
Indeed. Andrew Pearce is booking his holiday as we speak. So it's very charming, very charming.
Yeah.
Hello, Miriam.
I want to go there on holiday, though.
Very good.
A day trip. Lovely for a day
Yeah,
trip.
lovely.
Day trip.
Yeah, lovely. A couple of days, maybe.
What have you two got coming up for us at 9:30?
Well, the breaking story about Mandelson, of course. I think he's in quite a lot of trouble because he's admitting more revelations are to come. What are they? We've got the state visit next week, and he is the key figure behind the scenes. He's the bridge between number 10, the Foreign Office, and Trump.
And there have been lots of communications now uncovered between him and Epstein after Epstein's initial conviction. You know, before that, perhaps people could pretend that they didn't know what he was up to, but very much not afterwards. So we'll be asking what's going to happen to him. We're also going to be having the latest from France.
Wow,
massive day of protest there. Already tear gas in Paris following the fall of their, 29th Prime Minister in 2 years. I lose count.
Yeah.
And we've got an exclusive, GB News exclusive from Altrincham, where our viewers may remember that there were protests around a migrant hotel there. The Conservative group on Trafford Council have called for their hotels to be closed, but a group of 7 church ministers have written to the councillors accusing them of spreading fear and making a political capital. So we'll be talking exclusively to one of those councillors.
What is the point of these church leaders? What is the
They're getting very involved at the moment,
open
aren't
up
they?
the churches and let them stay there.
Why don't they? What a very good idea. What a very good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what they should do. That would be a proper Christian thing to do.
Appreciate it. Have a good show, guys. Thank you very much.
Here's the weather.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, I'm here with your GB News weather update, coming to you from the Met Office. Now today is going to be an unsettled day. Most of us will see some rain at times, could be quite heavy as well, and there will be some blustery winds adding to a relatively cool feel. Plenty of showery rain around this morning, and it's fairly widespread as we go through the day, so most places likely to see some bursts of it, but across western areas it's perhaps going to be a bit more frequent. Some heavier showery rain affecting western parts of Scotland, maybe into parts of Northern Ireland as we go into the afternoon as well. Temperatures are going to be around